Slipping off.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey guys, Bobby Thompson here, back with another episode of Jiu-Jitsu and Coffee. We're on episode number 9 here with my good friend Stuart Maddox. As always, Brenden Secor to my left and Nikki Baudin in front of me. And I'll do my best to introduce Stuart. This is our second take, by the way. We lost about 10 good minutes. We were on a roll.
Cut it out.
Oh, well.
We're good.
So Stuart is a national wrestling champion. And just correct me if I get some of this wrong. He was a blue belt Pan Am champion, no-gi champion, and a
purple belt. And then brown belt, I got third by default, which sucked. And then I won second in the open class.
And then let's talk about some of your other some of your other IBJJF titles you've amassed.
I'm going to Atlanta, 2013, 2 times in 2014. Or no, 2014, 2 times, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. So I've gone to Atlanta about 6 or 7 times, and I've gotten gold every time. And then I've won double gold 3 times there, I think. And then same thing in New York. And I've only done Miami twice. I'm going back to Miami in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I had planned on ending brown belt at No-Gi Pan Ams as my last competition, but then I have that weekend off. And then I have a weekend off next month for New York again. And I actually have the weekend off for No-Gi World, so I think that's going to be the last one.
And we met in 2014. I think we just established that.
Where I was deceived by a fake white belt. Sandbagger.
And then you came over to my school, and we trained together for quite a while. And
4 months straight,
yep.
Every single night.
Yep. Many epic rolls back when I could hang with you, before the Stewie 2.0.
I like Stewie 2.0.
Yeah, super smooth.
More people like rolling with Stewie 2.0.
Yeah. So, how long you been training?
It'll be 7 years, like this week.
Wow.
7. But how about wrestling before that?
I started wrestling in high school. It was god awful, like winless, awful. So I went from a winless freshman in high school to a senior in college national champion. So that was a great story. And college took me 5 years, so I had 9 years of wrestling competitively. And then that translated into jiu-jitsu really well.
Yeah, that's the one thing I could never train. I could never train takedowns because my first year, we have a mutual friend. I don't know if you know that. You do know that story, right?
Paulo?
Yeah.
I've never met him, but I know the story.
Yeah. So
it's a horrible story.
When I was the first year I was training, I was about 165. I'm not a very muscular guy. You know, I was 6'4", 165, and I was going with a guy that was 265. The guy was about 100 pounds heavier at the time. Yeah, he was he's about 6'5", 265. And I got him in a triangle, and he stood straight up, held me above his head, and I didn't think he'd slam me, man. The guy had 100 pounds on me. You know, you could kill someone from that. I mean, it's like, that's crazy. And he just power bombed me on my back, and that was the end of my lower back. So since 2003, I've had 3 herniated discs in my lower back, and basically the bottom disc is gone. So I learned to use the ground as like a crutch, right? So I just I keep the ground at my lower back, and I'm good. But I won't train takedowns because I've tried, and a 1 foot drop can lay me up in bed for a month. So unfortunately,
if you've ever been in a Bobby Triangle, you understand why he tried to slam his way out.
Yeah, he wasn't getting out. But I will say this: I did choke him out for that. So he wasn't getting out. And
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I mean, I gave up 3 discs for it, but hey, I tapped him out. Not sure that was a good trade-off.
Scoreboard.
So, man, Brenden, I know everything about Stuart, or not everything, but I know a lot about Stuart. But any questions? Do you want to lead?
You know, me and Stuart, we rolled, and he laid back like he was in a lounge chair as I was trying to pass his guard, which was fun. But we had a good conversation, and he told me, you know, he knew. We talked about I'm early on in my jiu-jitsu career, or journey, I like to call it. So he gave me some advice, and, you know, I guess my biggest question is, you know, like I'm learning. There's days, man, that are good, and there's days that I feel like I don't know anything.
It's always gonna be
Is it always going to be that way?
It's always gonna be that way. So basically at this point, I don't want it to sound like cocky, but pager is like my measuring stick.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first started, it was like 6 taps a roll, easily. Now, on a good day, if I'm having a good day, I'll like pass his guard and get position and be able to maintain. If I'm having an average day, usually he'll be on the offensive and I'll just be defending and I won't get tapped. If I'm having a bad day, he'll tap me. If I'm having a really bad day, he'll tap me more than once. And if I'm having a good day and he's having a bad day, I've caught him.
Nice.
But you got to find someone to be your measuring stick.
What about Colin? Do you ever use him as a measuring stick?
Oh, we used to train constantly.
He had good stories about you, and that's why I brought him up.
When I came here, he was still here, and we would go. I'd do 40 minutes with Bobby and then 40 minutes with Colin, and we used to keep track of how many times we submitted each other because we would submit each other a lot. So we would get like 4 submissions.
You know, we all do that in our head. You know, you're like, I'm up on that bitch.
But
You know, you're like,
Colin started we rolled so much that we stopped counting because we were getting 4 subs a night on each other, or I'd get 4 and he'd get 3, and the next night he'd get 4 and I'd get 3. Like, oh, we're even again. And then it got to the point where it was like 140 to 142, and we just stopped caring. He'll catch me more than I catch him. He's so flexible and small and very tight defensively. Like, I'll be in side control, pretty tight, and then all of a sudden I'll feel something on my hip, and it's his foot. And I have no idea how he gets it there. His hips and his knees are really flexible coming inward. Like, he can't do a straddle split, but he can do the little lotus thing and then put his knee on his chest.
like without his hands, he can do the lotus, no problem.
And then he'll walk on his knees, and then he can lay flat in the lotus and almost put his hips completely on the ground. You'd have to like cut all the connective tissue for me to do that.
Right.
So I've thought about having that done, just so I can be flexible.
Oh God.
The thing, Colin, like when I go against Colin, I can't stop him from getting under me. I know what he's gonna do, and I can't stop it. He's the equivalent of a jack. Like it's like he just like the car can't stop the jack from jacking it up. That's what it's like. Colin's just gonna get under me, and there's nothing I can do about it.
His game is definitely more complete. I mean, both of us have grown incredibly since we were here, but I think he was more dangerous when he heel hooked. But then he started to do IBJJS where heel hooks aren't allowed, so he expanded, and he's still a footlock and leg lock guy, but heel hooks were like his only trick. He was a serious one-trick pony. Now he's like a 12-trick pony. Anything below the belt, he's got a couple good passes, and he's got a couple good chokes. But he's still a lower body guy at heart. But all he would have to do is the same thing on a roll with Bobby. If I tried to pass them standing, they got that leg wrapped, all they would have to do is tweak my heel up about that far and slip their elbow under and it was done. Which led to probably the grossest moment in Bobby's jiu-jitsu journey, when I dropped 4 sweat missiles into his open mouth.
Ew.
Brings back the taste.
This is salty.
It was obviously that's an accident, but
Obviously.
he's so long.
We got another. We'll share a story after this. We can beat that today.
There's a nasty one out there.
The other story is the comparison story. Like, which would you rather have happen a second time? And his answer surprised me. But he had my leg reaped and he was going for the heel hook, and this was the day I learned if you can clear the knee, you're not in danger of getting heel hooks. You can spin out. So he's so long and flexible that I just took his shin and stuffed it, and when that jerk, 1, 2, 3, and it was like we both saw it in slow motion because he's going
right,
and I'm going,
don't do it.
splash, splash, splash. I was like, I'm out.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean that
No.
is a legit defense. Like last night, I was watching the combat jiu-jitsu, the EVI 17, and they're in their flat hand slapping each other, so they're continuously rolling, right? And you can tell it's there's no time to really think. Like it seemed like when they were setting something up, right, just getting a smack in the head, it was enough to kind of jolt the other person and kind of get out.
It's like Mike Tyson says.
So just
you have
drop
plans
the
to get
sweat on
punched.
Bobby, and you might get out. Yeah.
That's what we were talking about the other night. That kind of thinking comes with time on the mat. Like, I know I can say it for us. I'm already thinking, like, I think about the move I want, and then I know it's available if it doesn't work. And I know it's available if they're going to defend it this way or this way or this way. So the way I describe it is like, you ever see like that picture of a fractal hand where each finger is a hand and then each finger on that hand is another hand, so it's just a whole bunch of hands.
Right.
It's kind of what it's like. So like, you're a white belt, you have 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Blue belt, you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then maybe you can like loop back to 1. Purple belt, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and they start looping. You hit brown belt, you've got like 10 with 3 off of each of those, loop arounds, crisscrosses, and everything. Then you get to black belt, needing more hands.
Right.
So I would definitely say I'm at the 10 fingers part with options off of each one. And everyone has their specialties. And then you're better at working those specialties. That class I taught is my new favorite thing, and it's an hour's worth of technique, and that was rushing it.
Right.
Like, if I wanted everyone to do 10 reps each side, we would have been there for 3 hours. So.
Yeah, no, that class came up like during one of my rolls the other night. I was like, wow, I really I remembered, because I mean I just need more repetition with things, but I'm just like I'm in a position. I'm just like, I know there's that move, but I just don't know how to set it up at this point.
We had before I forget the story, we had, I'm not going to say any names to embarrass anyone,
Like
but we
Alex
had
and Jason. Oh, no names, no, sorry.
Dang.
we had one of our guys rolling with the other one, and the other one was like breathing so hard that a booger flew out of his nose into the other one's mouth.
Oh,
right?
that's worse.
Oh, that's worse.
It is worse.
That's not what I was thinking of. Can I tell the other one? Do you know the one I'm thinking of?
No, go ahead.
So,
tell
Oh,
it.
Jesus.
I don't remember how it came up, but it was you, me, and Colin at dinner one night. We were talking about, like,
Oh, God.
if you'd ever been farted on in a match. So, the next night, I get north-south on him, look at Colin, and go,
That was wrong.
and then the same thing. And then later on, I was like, Bobby, would you rather get farted on again or have sweat dripping in your mouth? And he was farted on, hands down.
You'd rather take the methane gas, huh?
I guess, man.
Which
Times
that answer
change.
surprised me. I'm a clean person. You know, I don't have anything.
Yeah, well,
it's just sweat.
He's done that before to me though.
Farted
Yes,
on.
yes. And then he doesn't say anything, but then you hear him start to giggle a little bit. I'm like, man, I hate you right now.
So silent but
I
deadly.
Because then I start to smell it. I'm like, oh my god.
The best part was the second time I did it.
To Colin.
No, I did
Coach.
it twice to Bobby. He didn't ask for it, but he goaded me into it. Same position. I was like, I could totally fart anywhere. And he goes, you want that because you're a pussy bitch. I was like, okay.
I am a tremendous shit talker when we roll. If you roll with me, you know that. I love talking smack during a roll. I instigate shit.
I
That's
have
what
to
I do.
learn to
Funny.
not talk to people when I roll. Like, some people get angry if you say anything at all after a tap. So I just.
They would hate rolling with me. I talk shit constantly.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'll see what their reaction is. Like, the friend I was rolling with before I came here, he kicked my ass in the first round, and then second and third round we were even, and then our final round before I left, I wrist locked him, and everyone hates wrist locks except for me. They're awesome. And he just got up and was like, and smiled, and we kept going. And so I just kind of gave him that stupid grin back.
Dang.
Because, I don't know what it is. The whole rest of our association thinks they're great. Louise's home school, everyone hates wrist locks, but they're great.
I love wrist locks.
Yeah.
I love
we
everything.
know you
I'm
love
Starting a
wrist
church. It's the Church of Wrist Locks. I'm the founder.
locks.
The only thing we don't do in our school is slam. That's it. It's
Yeah, we
it's
do
all
everything.
good. We enjoy
Fart,
it all.
spit, boogers thrown. We
Yeah,
don't
those
gouge
smack
eyes
cranks.
though.
What about crotch grabs? None of those, right?
We try to.
No.
I neon bellied Alex
That's different.
2 nights ago, and his escape was just ran me right. Like he pushed, like
Just
I mean, we'll
leveraged right off
push,
my-
palm
but
to
it's
nose.
not like
Palm my
we grab
nuts.
like
and he was
inside
like,
underneath.
I wasn't trying to do that on purpose. I was like, well, that was a good escape, brother.
I mean, if you were,
For
straight hit
street
the
fight.
beanbag.
I mean, if,
Straight hit the beanbag.
there was this video of these two dudes. I think that this dude had him on the ground, and then he went to reach around because he was going to go grab him, and he had his hands right in his butt. He just tried to flip him. They were like, whoa, that's illegal, because you could see, like, his hand was all the way in.
Yeah, I've never had it done to me, but like
Dude, that
apparently
was,
in
like,
wrestling it's more
nasty.
common, right?
I
That-
have.
Yeah, I think it
But
was wrestling what they were
it's-
doing.
It's highly illegal. Can get you ejected for the season and get your coach kicked out of a tournament. I had someone do it to me at a camp, not at a wrestling camp on the mats.
Not band camp. All right.
Yeah, not band camp.
Not bad.
And we were drilling just escapes from the bottom, and it was live starting from the bottom. So as I stood up, he just goes, boop. He's like, yeah, that's my favorite top move. I was like, that's an illegal top move. You can't do that.
That's nasty. I'm like, what?
Hindsight, that guy might be gay.
Ew. Yeah,
But that's how I learned to don't want things in my butt.
Well, there
It's
you
a
go.
formative.
There's worse ways to learn.
Yes, there is. It's a formative moment in my life.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to learn that technique in a class. Practice that move.
It's not a technique.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
cheat.
It's a cheat.
I guess technically it's a cheating technique, but
Yeah.
you don't need to know it.
Gotcha.
Just know if someone does it to you, it's time to throw down for real. All bets are off when the thumb goes in the butthole.
Wow.
That's when you like start punching the Adam's apple and eye gouging and
Oh.
all that.
Yeah.
So Nikki, any?
I'll do throat grabs. Throat grabs are illegal.
Oh.
As long as you don't close your fingers. So
In
if
wrestling?
in jiu-jitsu. So fun fact, if you ever want to do an IBJJF, you're allowed to grab them by the neck like this, as long as you don't close your fingers. Now, Luiz has my favorite expression for that now, because everyone else just calls it a rape choke or an alley choke. Well, the other day, I was doing it to one of our purple belts, and Luiz was like, bro, when he goes for the sex, I was like, what are you doing with your wife? That's how you start.
He calls it the sex?
The sex. When he goes for the sex.
Right.
Oh my god.
There's so many different Luizisms. That's the newest one. There's also, instead of making a strong grip, it's make a huge grip.
Okay.
Everyone has plural groins. I did not know that. I have one. But he's like, you get the way you kick him in the groins.
Yes.
I was like, Luiz, do you have two? You have like a third leg somewhere, and do you have two? And then
A black belt or core belt.
it's also when you're in the shits. It's like, it's not in the shit, it's in the shits. It's like, I feel like either one would work, because if you're in the shits, then you're also having a problem.
Oh my gosh.
Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Wow.
But my new favorite is when they go for the sex.
That's funny.
Sex in the groins.
So, what made you want to start wrestling?
A little bit of backstory. So every high school football dream, every guy, I'm gonna play professional football.
Oh.
I'm gonna go join a football team. I was a second string fat lineman on the freshman team, and then our freshman coach was like, go do either wrestling or weightlifting in the off season. My best friend was gonna do wrestling. He's like, you should come do it with me. And I was like, okay. If I suck, at least my best friend's there. We both sucked. We were the only two that didn't win a match that year. And then I put a lot of time into it and got better, and he didn't. He won some our sophomore year, but then he ended up quitting at the end of the year, and I stayed with it. But that was how I got into it, and then that led to basically the rest of my life.
Yeah. So
That
wait,
was
so then how
awesome.
did you get into jiu-jitsu from there?
It was my junior year of high school. I did karate when I was a kid from age 7 to 13, and there was some kind of drama there because they like branched off in like 4 different schools. Like someone would get their black belt, and then after a year or 2 of working there, they're like, no, I'm gonna leave. So a couple that had split off started their own school in the same town. So I didn't have a big hometown, and they were the first ones to have jiu-jitsu. And I don't even remember. I think my mom brought it up to me, and I didn't know anything about it at the time. And so I went there. I was 16, and I ended up training for 8 months. I think from February to October. I remember because it was when my first progress reporter report card came out. And my parents like, your grades are slipping. You got to pick wrestling or jiu-jitsu. I was like, well, I can always come back to jiu-jitsu. I've only got a finite amount of time for wrestling. So that was how I have a giant gap in my jiu-jitsu. Between 16, I think I went back right before I turned 21. So that was how I first found out about jiu-jitsu. And that was kind of the evolution of like the instructors I had in jiu-jitsu, because at that point it was 2 blue belts were teaching. I was like, oh my God, I'm rolling with a blue belt. And then when I started back up again, the owner of the school then was a brown belt. I was like, oh my God, it's a brown belt. And then that school got taken over by a fight sports affiliate, and they had 2 black belts. I was like, oh my God, it's a black belt. And then that year, like 3 months later, I got my blue belt, and then 2 or 3 months after that, I actually rolled against Pedro at a Copa America tournament before I knew who he was. And he destroyed me in like a minute.
Dang.
And then I had heard, like, my teammate had fought him before. I was like, yeah, his dad's a coral belt. So when I first met Luiz, I was like,
Oh, they do
touching
exist.
greatness, and now I know. And
Touching
I'm like,
greatness.
now I'm like, hey Luiz. He's like, sure, where's my money?
Dang.
Which I actually owe him monthly tuition right now.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, tomorrow's the 1st. I'll be okay.
Can I ask you what your schedule is like now? Because right now I think I have a light schedule, but I know there's people that train less than me.
What, your training schedule?
Yeah, what's your training? Because Colin, man, when we talk to him, it sounds like he's like rolling every day, Monday through Friday. You know.
It's
Monday
changed
through
a lot.
Sunday.
So my first year at UNF, I didn't train in Jacksonville. I focused on wrestling that year, and I hadn't met Pedro yet. I hadn't fought Pedro yet. Then when I came, I focused really hard on jiu-jitsu that summer and got really good. Went from white to blue belt. Accelerated through the first half of blue belt. I was already at 2 stripes in like 4 months, and then what was after that? I already forgot your question.
So my question, what's
Training
What's your
regimen
schedule?
today.
Monday
Okay,
through
okay,
Sunday?
okay. I
Monday
remember.
through
So-
Sunday. What's it like?
Yeah.
For you?
Gotcha. Now I know where I was going. That summer, the reason why I progressed so fast is because I set up my work schedule so I could train morning and night. And then since I was living at home and didn't need to make any money, I just was only working weekends. So I would go to boxing at 10, jiu-jitsu at 11, hydrate the entire afternoon, go back to boxing at 5:30, jiu-jitsu at 6:30.
Wow.
Every weekday for an entire summer.
Now-
And then
Now, let me interject real quick. Let's go back to your karate. How long did you train karate?
6 or 7 years.
Now, at one point in time, you could do a 540. Is that right?
I still can.
You can still do a 540.
540 kick. I don't
Yeah.
know how dangerous that kick would be, but it looks cool when you see a fat guy do it.
Yeah, I was. I've seen him do a 540, and it's pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
Well,
So-
we'll have to look.
Takes a lot of
after.
effort to get this chin off the ground.
Is it aerodynamic?
A little bit.
So you getting to train as much nowadays? Now that you got
Not
the
even close.
how many days a week you training now?
On my off days, I still train twice a day. On my work days, I don't, except for Fridays and Saturdays.
Because what's a typical work day now? Like is it?
6:30 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh dang.
Yes.
But doesn't that run over a lot? Like, or no, it doesn't.
What do you
It's
mean?
pretty. Like from what I hear, obviously I've never been a cop, but I talk to Bobby a lot, and he'll say like, it's not uncommon to get stuck with like your last thing you do will have paperwork overrun that could go 45 minutes or an hour. Or,
If HQ is good, which usually they are, they'll hold a call that's going to be a report writing call and give it to the early watch instead of giving it to us. I had one the other night. It was like 5:20 and we get off at 5:55, and it was a burglar alarm, but someone had actually broken in, and so I had to
dang.
bust that report out super fast. But I did it, and I got to go home on time.
Sounds like a lot of paperwork.
what's your beat?
I ride on the west side, like Bobby does. I ride right north of where he is. West side is not the best side. Contrary to the phrase.
Now, where if you're an officer in JSO, what's the sweet spot? Like, where do people want to be at?
It depends on what you want to do.
Well, for what you do.
It depends on what you want to do, because each zone is different. Like downtown is a metro area, and you've got not a lot of gang problems there that I know of. I don't know. I never worked that area, but you have a lot of homeless people. You deal a lot with the hospitals. If you're on the northwest side, you deal with mostly like major cases like shootings and stuff, because it's like 45th Street and Moncrief and Myrtle and all those wonderful areas.
The wonderful areas.
Yeah. The west side is where me and Bobby work, and that's the highest call volume in the city by far.
Is that kind of like indoctrination? Is that where the new guys kind of get funneled to, or just no?
So like each zone has their own slogan, except for Zone 5 for some reason. That's the northwest side. Ours is the proving ground, which is 100% accurate. Because if you have trained in on the west side, everywhere else the call volume is so much lower. You're like, what do I do with myself? Like, should I just sit here, or should I go try to like stop somebody in a car, or what? And on our side, we're like, okay, oh gosh, there's still 12 calls holding. All right, I guess I'm not eating.
But wouldn't an environment like that cater? Isn't that better for new people? So wouldn't the mentality be to cycle once you get some experience there, to cycle you out of there? And
I think everyone should train there. I'll say lucky. I trained there in my first phase and my fourth phase, and then I went there for my permanent assignment. But I definitely I don't want to get out of it yet because I like the busy. Because it's really busy until about 2 in the morning, and it slows down a lot. Eventually, I'd like to go to the other side of the city and go to the east side, like between beach and the Dames Point, and that goes from the river all the way to the beach.
I thought that was.
That's this.
I was gonna say that's this side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this area.
That's
beach,
this zone.
That's in the Dames Point.
Mm-hmm. But like, so you got like all the really high profile crime is in the northwest because that's where all the gangs are. Call volume is the west side. You have all the crashes in the southeast side, like south side, Bartram, because just in my friend's sector, you have Bartram Park, Old St. Augustine, San Jose, 295, 95, and
roads.
Phillips, and Bay Meadows.
Dark roads, long, people speeding, probably drunk.
They're all
bars.
major roads, and
Yeah.
I mean, if you do just his entire subsector, you also add south side in there.
Now, how often do you have to unholster your gun?
I haven't.
Can you
had
count
to.
how many times it's happened?
Yeah, I haven't had to very much. I also haven't had anyone try to fight me yet, which is.
Your size probably intimidates people. It has I probably can't take him.
I've been in one vehicle pursuit. I was hamstring cramp. Ow! I'm okay. Give me a second.
I don't deal with those. See, us skinny guys, like I never
I
get.
also just trained for an hour and a half on an empty stomach.
Fasting. No.
I just like to train in the morning without breakfast. Where was I?
Unholstering your gun.
Unholstering my gun. No. Like, couple times. When we clear buildings, we have to. When you come up on something hot, you're always going to have it out. Like, it came up when it was supposedly someone calling for help. So I rolled up, and I could hear a countdown. And like, 3, 2, get the fuck out of the car. Oh, my God. Like, what is going on? I just wanted her to go get her stuff. I was counting down so she'd hurry. I was like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. That's exactly what's happening. I was like, oh, okay. Well, leave. So I freaked those people out unnecessarily. Been in one vehicle pursuit. I was car number 3 in that. So usually in a pursuit, car 1 is the one that's doing the main following, and then car 2 is the one that's calling out the location. It's like every time they make a change, if they're passing stuff on the interstate. And that one went from like Cecil Commerce and I-10, which is way out on the west side, all the way to Pecan Park, which is past the 295.
Oh yeah.
295 Beltway. So that was like a 40-mile pursuit. That was awesome. And then I've only been in one foot chase, and I think that's because the guy didn't look at who he was running from. No, I'm not talking about me. The guy I was with is built like you, just a little shorter, wiry, and got a set of wheels on him. I should have run through a fence that night. I had the opportunity. It would have been so cool. It didn't have the middle bar in this privacy fence, like the middle 2x4. I could have just Kool-Aid man through it. So it was all over like some cigarettes or something this guy stole. We go to his house, and the roommate opens the door, and they go to get him, and then we hear like a thump thump. He's running out the back. We'd already checked the entire fence. There's no gate. So I just shoved the guy out of the way, take off through the house, slipped on something in the kitchen twice because there was like a towel on the floor. So I slipped. Then when I tried to plant my other foot, I slipped at that foot too. Then as I'm getting to the back porch, he's already climbing the fence. I jumped the porch, which is a good 3 feet up and 3 feet out because it was rotted. And then I went and missed his leg by like an inch. And then it's really hard to climb a privacy fence when you weigh 250 pounds.
Yeah.
Because you can't pull back. So I went snap, snap, pulled 2 of them off, pulled straight up, slung my leg over, my pepper spray caught, ripped a plank half off, and completely ruined my landing. I did not land gracefully, fell on my butt, rolled into the ditch, popped out of the ditch into a full sprint though, so that recovery was great. But by the time I hit the pavement, partner's already across the street. It's like, damn you and your skinny ass.
Right. Are you guys wearing body cam yet?
No, it's coming.
It's coming though, right? I've heard it on the news.
They've had like beta testing and certain officers wearing them.
Yeah.
I think they got selected at random, and they were like testing out different cameras.
Right.
I think it'll be good and it'll be bad. It'll be good in some situations and bad in others. It takes away a lot of like discretion is a big part. And if you're like, well, why didn't they do this for that person? Like, well, it was their discretion. That person has no record. and you go, well, why'd they take that person? Well, that person's got a rap sheet this long.
Right.
So
I get that.
Dang.
What's the craziest thing
That's what I was
happened
just
so
gonna
far?
ask.
3 drops of sweat and Bobby.
To me, that was like I was a primary officer on, or just
Yeah.
craziest thing I've heard about.
No, that's happened to you. Like the most unbelievable thing, the hardest, that you can imagine
The
happening.
one that shakes you up today.
Crackhead humping a rabbit. Oh no, sorry, that was a movie. Colors.
I haven't really been shaken by anything.
I came across that once. I'm not even lying.
Actually,
Wasn't a crackhead though.
Stuffed.
I killed a dog by accident.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you just.
How does that happen?
It ran out in front of the car at
Oh,
45
okay.
miles an hour
Okay.
Oh,
at 3 in
dang.
the morning. It was a
Oh.
beautiful dog too.
Dang. I would have
Yeah,
cried.
Was it like suffering for a while?
No, it died within 5 minutes. But I was choking back tears. And then I
Man.
helped the owner bury it. And my squad tried to make fun of me for that. And I was like, you guys can all shut the hell up because you're all dog lovers.
I
You
would've
would've done the
cried.
same thing. And they're making fun of me for
Yeah.
burying it. Not for choking back tears. And it's like, you guys all suck. Like,
I
it
would
was
help
awful.
bury it, so.
But that's the
I
cool
mean,
thing,
that's-
is you took the time to do that. And there's other
Yeah.
officers out there, right, that are, getting buying needy families like a baby car seat, right? They
Yeah.
pull over a car and kid isn't in a car seat and they can't afford one, right?
Yeah.
But that's not, that stuff's not on the news, right? They
No,
try to.
you gotta find it like floating around on social media.
Well, there was a case of a police officer. This homeless man didn't have shoes, or a jacket, so the police officer went inside the store that he was like outside of, and he got him shoes and a jacket because it was
I've
cool
seen that,
outside.
too.
I was like, oh, that.
And I
Yes.
think I don't think the guys are doing that just to make to make
Yeah,
it on
that's
social
like-
media. It's just
Yeah,
just
because
being
it was just
human,
a video
right?
on the security cam. So it wasn't like he was trying to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
cool stuff.
Yes.
I think, and it's great and it doesn't happen enough. And when it does, it doesn't get enough attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems to happen in like smaller places. You never see it happen in major cities.
Yeah.
So you're in obviously a squad car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever be like a patrolman on a horse? Or
I don't even know if we
motorcycle?
still have
That'd be
those.
cool.
I think we do.
They have to. Those are the coolest
I
options.
think we
Yeah,
still
they
have,
are.
I think we do still have a mounted unit. We have walking beats. We have people that just patrol the parks. We have people that just patrol the airports. But no, I don't want to do that.
Do you want to be in a car?
I'd rather
Have you
be on
seen
a
how much I sweat?
I was gonna say the air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's a must here in Florida.
I'd have to get like a window unit and mount it to my back.
Matter of fact, yeah, I couldn't get in my base because I was slipping around in your sweat the night.
That was the problem today too. We were in someone's garage and it was awful. Like we got to our feet
Mop
and I was
the
like,
mat
you know what,
with
we're just
your
gonna drop
sweat.
back down.
Yeah, let's just get back.
This is
on
gonna be
it.
dangerous. We're gonna slip and hit the concrete.
But yeah.
Yeah, I put in my
Dang.
time rolling at 110 degrees, 100 whatever, and I'm older now. Those days are behind me. I'm rolling at 74 degrees.
The only
Super
time I've
beneficial, though.
rolled in the heat was at that competition because we normally have AC here, and man, it was hot in there. I could see everyone's faces were red. It was getting dark out.
10 Planet Jacksonville, right?
There
Yeah.
was bugs coming in. I was like, oh my god,
So-
I'm just gonna do whatever.
Training in the heat or with no AC or both is super beneficial if you're a competitor. I used to, and when I wrestled in high school, my everyday wear was 2 pairs of sweatpants, a long sleeve rash guard, a no hood sweater, and 2 hoodies.
Oh my
And I would
gosh.
strip them off as I got hotter. So by we got to the time we got to the end of practice, I would have just 1 pair of pants and just the rash guard on.
Oh, wow.
But I would drop like 10 pounds of practice easily.
Okay.
But when you train,
But you
you
gotta hydrate.
train with your body at that high of a temperature, when you're competing in nothing but a singlet, your body temperature never gets that high. So you're accustomed to the heat. And it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. When I was in Daytona, the gym there, they had an analog thermostat. It went to 90, so if here's a lower temperature, it was at 90. It was here, like off the meter.
But
That
you're
was where
used
I
to
would
that.
drink 6 of these
Dang.
in like a half day. I would drink 1 on the way there because I knew I was going to sweat it out, so I'd be peeing like 3 times before class started. I'd kill at least 1 of these on the way home, and then have at least 3 more before I went back at night, and then have another 3 before the night was over at least. I was drinking 8 pounds of water a day, which is
Isn't that good?
actually no more than that. I was drinking like 15.
See, the
So
thing-
at least 2 gallons of water, and a gallon's 8 pounds.
The thing is, though, is that what you guys are aren't going to understand. Like there's things you're constantly going to learn. Like one of the things that you cannot explain to Brenden is for him not to use his power. Just like at a purple belt, you couldn't understand it, right? Like you'd hear people talk about it, but you're like, bitch, I'm grappling, right? Like, you know, but later, right, it makes total sense, right? Like later you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I can still have this battle and reserve some energy, right? Whereas, you know, when you're a white belt, you can't get that. It's just going to take time. But one of the things that happens is in your career, like I'm approaching 16 years, and your mentality changes because at 16 years, I have no desire to be a world champion. I started at 30. I was never going to be an adult world champion. Therefore, and I know that I don't care how many you could win masters at 20 times. No one say, hey, you want to train with this guy? No one cares, right? So I'm just like, I'm not trying to travel to the other side of the United States to compete in a division that no one cares about. So when competition's over, it's like, why are you there? You know, like if you're not trying to be the best anymore, you're just trying to be a better version of you. The way you train is different, right? You're just trying to be better than you were the day before, and then you're just trying to enjoy the journey more. Like my thing is, I'm not trying to at 30, I was killing myself, right? Like I was pushing myself as hard as I possibly could every day. But at 46, I'm just enjoying myself. I'm just I'm just having fun on the mats, you know. It's the journey changes, right? Like, and the reason we roll changes, and our passion for it changes. Like I still enjoy it, but it's not my number one passion like it used to be. Now it's like dropped down to like 3 or 4.
Having a kid will change that.
That's my number one. Like my daughter's absolutely number one priority in my life right now. She trumps everything, but number 2 is like conspiracies for me.
Oh, I know. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
I read enough about them on Facebook.
Yeah.
So my journey is, obviously I want to be better than I was yesterday, and I don't think I'm going to go anywhere with competitions. I'll probably compete, obviously, because you have to do one. But my daughters, man, I want my two daughters to learn. And my oldest, Kilani, if you're watching this, you know, come on, we got to get you back in the gym some more over here, because I'd really like to see what she can do. She's a state champ, 2-time Olympic weightlifting in her high school career. So
she lifts more now than I did.
Oh, you did talk to her. That's right.
She lifts more now. She said the numbers she told me were better than mine at the beginning of college. And I was in the 197-pound weight class in wrestling.
I don't want her to stop the weightlifting. Her coach that she has now, Greg Cosentino, and their gym, they're phenomenal. But God, you know, if I could be selfish, I'd want her in here more.
Yeah,
you know
seriously,
what I'm saying?
like she could.
She wants to do both, but she says she's trying to make like the U.S. team for weightlifting.
She does. Goal. She does want to do Pan Ams, and she does want to travel with them. But yeah, it's so competitive with those girls, and you're talking Chinese girls. These are kids that are
doing it from birth,
and they're paid for the money. Their countries sponsor those athletes. You know,
American weightlifters
and American don't get shit.
They live in poverty.
Yeah, no, you've got to work a job. The Chinese and all that, you know, those other countries, Iraq even, you know, like those countries, those people don't fucking work. They train.
French judokas get paid $12,000 a month just to do judo.
Yeah, fucking A.
And then they're training for free.
Right.
All they have to do is like compete basically every month. Which is why they have such a huge following there, and they're all good.
Right. Could you imagine like if that was part of our school curriculum? Jiu-Jitsu was part of our school curriculum. Awesome. Right? And I bring that up a lot because like, fuck, man, that would be so amazing. And
World Star videos would be next level.
Right. Now you see
hit the triangle, bro. Hit the triangle.
No, it would be good, but it would be bad. It'd have a downside too. Is that
you think?
There is a downside to it? Kind of. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of on a fence because
watered down.
Well, not even that. Is that, you know, the thing about jiu-jitsu is it's for the idea was that it was for the weak person, and it was for self-defense. Mm-hmm. But if you give it to the masses, then the week, it's like,
Then it's
then
the
all
week
of a
is still
sudden,
weak.
the week is still weak, right?
Yeah.
Like you
So-
can't defend yourself. And it's like, man, it becomes kind of pointless. Like,
So then what you were saying about how I've evolved into being more technical and less strength, that used to be my argument. It was always, jiu-jitsu was for the weak to beat the strong and the little guy to beat the big guys. Like, if strength wasn't a factor, the pros wouldn't have strength and conditioning programs. And that was just because I didn't want to learn how to be smoother. But they do. Like, you look at have you ever seen Hidalgo Vieira without a shirt on? He looks like
these
he's
guys look
carved
like
out of
professional
marble.
bodybuilders.
Yeah, it's freaky.
At the highest level, if you're not,
Diet, exercise.
yeah, a super fit athlete, you don't stand a chance in the highest division.
Muscle Form had a commercial last night. It had Gordon Ryan, TJ Dillashaw, and it was while I was watching the EBI on UFC Pass. And yeah, those guys are all like cover of Men's Magazine type, six-pack had shredded, and their diet's on point. They're training. They don't have to work. They're sponsored, right?
Yeah.
They're going to training camps.
Jordan Ryan gets offered like just to show to tournaments, and it's like $15,000 just to win one or two matches, and he's gonna win.
Right.
So
Well, that invitational. There's the guys that weren't even making it to the end, and it shows like one of them.
yeah,
he
he
won
won a
50.
$50,000 prize.
Yeah, and
Which
if you're
he's
like runner
won.
up or close to it, third,
Still
fourth
get
place,
paid.
$15,000
Yeah.
for one comp. It's a nice little paycheck,
Someone local got invited to one.
Well, they meant
To one what?
Marcelo Burgos.
Yeah,
in
Marcel's
ABI.
2, I think.
He actually turned
He-
down the second one.
I thought it was the third one. He was supposed to be.
I
in.
know
that
he
name
did one. I
sounds
think he
familiar.
turned
Are you
down.
sure he wasn't on last night?
No, he
I'm positive
retired.
he's here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They mentioned is Brian, the owner of. They mentioned 10 Planet Jacksonville, and the
He's
owner is
super
Brian.
tight.
They
He's super tight
mentioned
with
the
Eddie.
commentary talked about him there. Shout out to Brian out in Jacksonville, talking about he's doing good things out here. So
He,
it's pretty cool.
His 32-man tournament got an article on Jiu-Jitsu Times, which is like a big online periodical for Jiu-Jitsu. My name was on there. I was a brown belt to watch. And then I lost in the second round of the runner-up.
But you're retiring from competing,
No, not done.
you mentioned.
No, I'll be done at brown belt.
Okay.
I want to go out on a big tournament, and I should have just ended it at no-gi pans. Had I done what I wanted to, I would have, but I got screwed.
What you're a 4-stripe brown today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any time.
Right. Also, fun. Well, first fact of this is not fun. When I moved from my apartment in February to a studio apartment, I lost my brown belt that Luiz gave me, which I'm kind of sentimental. That means a lot to me. You remember what my purple belt looked like? It's a rag.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a really cheap. Doesn't even have like a core to it. Like most belts have like a thin rubber core to give them that structure.
Mm-hmm.
No core at all. It's like a ribbon, and it is completely white on the edge, and it actually ripped where I tied the knot the same place every time.
Mm-hmm.
So my brown belt that Luiz gave me is a little thin. It's not that thin. It's actually got a little bit of structure to it, but it faded really fast, and it started to tear in places. You can see the white core on the inside. Well, I lost it in February. Had no idea where it was. Thought I might have it might have gotten blown off the car if I left it on top of the car, or maybe I left it in Pedro's truck because he helped me move, and then he just didn't look hard enough, and it was still there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved into my house yesterday, I have this big green like egg crate style chair that was in a bag. I lifted the bag, and there it was, 2 feet from where my head has been every night for the last 6 months. I freaked out. I was pacing in the yard. I was like, oh my God, it's back. Oh, my baby's here. I wore that thing today. Oh, it felt good.
Dang.
That's good, man.
Reunited, it felt so good.
The magical
Someone like
belts.
Colin and Melissa were joking about like, oh, you're going to find it like the day before you get your black belt. And I was like, no.
I know. I let some asshole who visited the school, and people show up all the time. And they're like, "Hey, man, I don't have a belt. Can I borrow a belt?" And I'm like, "Yeah." The only belt I had that fit this guy was my white belt. And it's your you save your belts. They meet. Some people make things out of them and hang them on the wall. But I'm like, look, man, the only belt I've got is my white belt. Just give it back at the end of class. And the dude took it and never came back. I was like, yeah, it ticks you off because it's like, it's a
Phone
representation.
number on the waiver, you could call him.
Yeah, no phone number on the waiver, unfortunately. But it pisses you off,
Dang.
you know. You never. It's a representation of all the work you put in for that belt.
No,
But,
you gave your other belts to people, right?
No,
Didn't you give your brown belt to Morgan?
I had 2 brown belts. I gave him one. I gave him the one that I wore less, you know. But I had one's tattered. The other one was.
It's always cool to get gifted a belt.
Yeah.
But then I know people like they don't want to wear a belt that was gifted to them. They want to just hang on to it. Like I think Luiz gave Pedro his black belt. He gave him his original black belt from Hickson.
Dude, Pedro's got the hardest belt I've ever felt in my life. I think it's got like 2 leather belts stitched together inside.
So thick. In fact, I don't have it on my phone. When he whipped John Miles, when John got his black belt 3 years ago, he still had marks 4 days later. Like, so I took pictures immediately afterwards, and like 4 hours later when we were done celebrating, we kept the Mexican restaurant open an extra hour drinking. And they were like, no, you guys are fine. I was like, you guys closed at 10. It's 10:50.
They don't care.
Yeah, they're like,
They're
you're
cool.
buying stuff. And I was like, okay.
Mexicans are cool like that, man.
So, then I went and trained with him at his house like 4 days. I think that was a Thursday, and then we trained again on Sunday in the afternoon, and he still had the stitch lines from that belt.
Pedro's belt?
Mm-hmm.
Roger that.
He barely hit me at all when I got my brown belt. I fully expected him to like go so hard. Because he always stands first in line to go down and back. So I stand there and wait for him to start, and he didn't go, and I'm like,
You know why?
out.
You know why I quit doing that? You probably remember why I quit doing it. I had a student. So I used to do the gauntlet, right? Like it was. But I had this like badass blue belt. Man, the dude was really good for a blue belt. He was in like the top 5% easily. You know, he was a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the gauntlet on someone. I promoted someone to blue belt, and then I looked around and I noticed, man, where's my boy at, man? He was gone. And then like the next day, I'm talking to him. I'm saying, hey man, where'd you go the other night? He said, man, that just made me sick. You know, it's like I said, what made you sick? He says, that gauntlet. And he's like, it's sick. It's bullshit, man. You know, it's like, it wasn't even him. Like he literally got upset that someone had to go through that. And it's like, it's not like it's not a big deal. It's like,
also not
That's
required.
like rite of passage.
Did I know who it is?
You know?
Is he on the picture outside? Anywhere? On the window?
I don't want to throw him under the bus right now. Like
You don't
it's
have to say
kind of
his name,
maybe his things have changed, but his name was Chris. He was a really good leg attacker.
Oh, okay. Really? It was him.
Yeah. He got really upset, man. He got really upset and he left, and it pissed him off, right? And I was like, man, after that, I was like, I never imagined the gauntlet would like upset someone, right? But it upset him, and I'm like, man, holy shit! Like maybe I should rethink this. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't want to lose students because people disagree with it, right? So
there's traditions in the Navy, and they call it hazing now, and you get in trouble. But it was back in the day, right? If you earn a warfare pin, they put it on your chest, and everybody get to like punch and they call it tack it on, right? But it wouldn't have the frogs, the little buttons on there, so you're getting hit with a spike, or you make rank, and and people would like just punch you in the arm. But then you get assholes that just take it too far, right? You know what I mean? Like a sock in the arm, no problem, right? And you move out. But then there's dudes jumping off of a fucking table and like boom, or the biggest guy in the room just cocking back, running and nailing you and
knocking you through the drywall.
and injuring. So it's like, so I get it. Like the gauntlet, it doesn't scare me. But if you get someone that's just fucking wailing on you with a belt, that's kind of ridiculous, right? And that should be throttled back.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
That didn't happen though. Like in this instance, like
In your instance, that didn't.
It didn't happen. It was totally. And actually, honestly, I personally have never observed one get out of hand. Like I've never seen one get.
I've seen the videos of it, but like where it was straight hazing, like the dude's trying to get out, someone drags him back onto the mat and holds him there.
Yeah.
That was in Brazil, so I don't know what was going on there, but Luiz always makes sure that, because if it's a big promotion, we'll have families and stuff. He's like, it's optional, don't have to do it, and people will do it anyways. But the thing with him is, so I've got a friend in Orange City, good friend. He's actually the one who got me back into jiu-jitsu when I was an adult. I coached his son at the high school that I went to in wrestling, and then he asked me if I wanted to do like some jiu-jitsu after wrestling practice. Like, sure. And that's how I got back into it. But their school, he just promoted his first purple belt. So they haven't been around for a while. But they've grown super fast, and they're a great family and great people. they let white belts in their gauntlet, which Luiz does not do. And he has a good reason, like each of them do. So my friend's reason is they're like the core of the school. They're the base. If you don't have a white belt, you don't have anything. I was like, I understand that. He gave me a shout out in their last gauntlet video because I was like, why are there white belts there? But Luiz will joke and say white belts are people. Which, let's be honest, they're not.
Not yet.
No, that's not the reason. The reason why Luiz doesn't let white belts in the gauntlet is because they haven't had it done to them yet.
Yeah.
So you can't whip someone until you've been whipped. So if you never get whipped, you don't get to whip anybody. But I like that. I like the rite of passage, and everyone's always like, they're malicious in that 3-second span that they have to actually get you, because you can't follow them. You stay in your spot and you get them until they're out of your reach. And I think the most I've ever gotten is 4 swings on someone.
Oh,
That's because they're walking slow. So it was front, back. That was all I got. And that's because I swung early. So I just caught him with the tip. And then I think I actually got 2 to the front. So 2 to the front and then 2 to the back, not back and forth. And you can walk slow, you can walk fast. He stopped doing them for a while because I remember it was before my time that I've heard the story. Joe Doherty, when Caesar was still here, Caesar and Pedro both hit him, and Joe was like, you guys hit like pussies. And they took the skin off his side.
That's what I'm talking about.
So they stopped for a while after that one, and then when John got his purple belt, they stopped for a while after that one. Those pictures are on his Facebook. He's got lines from the tips of the belts.
Ow.
Yeah. I didn't get hit that bad. I did have a giant blue bruise right here after my brown belt test because it just caught at the perfect spot. What cool.
I've never been through a gauntlet.
Really?
Hoist
I haven't
didn't do
either.
them. No.
Mm.
So we had people, like, I started doing it because I had people asking, they're like, hey man, they wanted the rite of passage. They're like, I want to do the gauntlet, right? But then when I had a guy like leave, got upset, bent out of shape about it, I was like, well, maybe I'll just stay away from the gauntlet, right? I didn't do it. Why should I put other people through it?
I like the rite of passage, and it does kind of make you feel closer to everybody. Like, you just...
So do chips and salsa and a couple beers, but never mind.
They do afterwards. That's what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
But no, I'll do one for my black belt. I did one. I didn't have to do one for my blue belt. My old school didn't do that. I've gotten my other 2 belts from Luiz. Blue belt I got right before I met Pedro, and then one of the kids' dads recruited me to come to Luiz's. So when I came back for school the next year, I started training there, and then that was when I learned about the gauntlet. And I didn't, even though I was a blue belt and I was allowed to, I didn't, because I'd never had it done to me. So I waited till I got my purple belt from Luiz before I hit anybody. But my old school, they're just like, oh, here's your belt.
Are you teaching over there at Luiz's?
If he's out of town and Pedro's out of town and he can't get any of the black belts to teach, I will.
So is it Pedro usually or Luiz teaching?
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Luiz kind of like feels like he's phasing it out to Pedro because he's getting ready to retire. I think my opinion is once Pedro is able to promote his own black belts, Luiz will retire, which is still another 2 years because Pedro just got his first stripe, and you have to be under IBJJF rules. You have to be second degree.
Okay. I noticed that they change up the schedule. They've been posting.
Yeah, they just did.
They're adding more classes, so I thought that was cool. Anybody interested? They're adding more classes over there.
I gotta figure it out. I gotta read it.
I think they added 2 7 a.m.s on.
Mm-hmm. And they brought them back. They had it for a little while, and then they took it out because people stopped coming. I was like, Luiz, you're up that early anyways. What's the big deal?
Yeah, he is up early, man.
Not me.
Well,
Not if I
Luiz
don't
has
have
an
to
old
be.
person sleep schedule. He goes to bed at like 9 and wakes up at 5:30.
That's not.
I stay up
that's,
late,
That's a
yeah.
great sleep schedule. I try to do that too.
Hell no, I'm a night owl. I like to go. That's why I want to get on the 5th watch. Work from 3:30 or 3
In the morning.
PM.
Oh, PM till.
PM to AM. 12-hour shift. That's perfect. That's my college schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Then I
See,
get.
I don't think the body's made to be out during
So
the night.
I like waking up when
I'm
my day starts. Like
usually till like 1 if I don't have to be up.
1 would be crazy
Sorry.
early for me to go to bed.
so, I like early.
Well, no, because
Yeah.
like
I forgot you're the up till 5 a.m.
Yeah, last night I did
reading
5
and
a.m.
watching,
It was
Oh
fine.
my
I did like
God.
6 hours.
Watching Ion, reading books, and reading conspiracy theories.
I'm hooked on conspiracy theories.
I know
I
you
go
are.
down
I fell
all
asleep
of
at
them,
like
man.
11:30 though last night. I was so tired.
No, it's just like, so my parents used to get on to me when I lived at home for one semester of college when I moved back from Iowa, and I had a job, and I coached wrestling at the high school. So I would coach and then go work usually until close, and like match my homework, and I'd stay up till like 3 because my classes went until 12. And I just watch stuff on my computer, and my parents like, you should go out and be with people. Like, I've been with people all day.
Your classes went till 12?
No, they didn't start till 12.
Oh, 12 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I would stay up watching Netflix till 3 and then go to sleep for 9 hours, roughly. And I did that all throughout college.
Well, if that's your schedule and you're set to that and you're getting 9 hours of constant sleep, that's awesome.
Well, that's why I want the 5th watch, because right now the watch I'm on is midnight, 6th watch. 5th watch in my zone is 3 to 2:30. In every other zone, it's 3:30 to 3, which either one would be fine. That's either 8 hours or 7.5 hours. Because I get up at 11, feed my dog, go train. That gives me time to train, lift, finally start lifting again, get a smoothie for a healthy lunch, and go to work. I would start dropping weight super fast. This is not even close to my healthy weight.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
He was talking about like, oh man, he's the Adonis. He was 5%, 3%.
Nah, 8%.
Okay.
I wish I was 5%.
Oh god. That would be
see the gills right there. That was.
Are you a lizard? Is that why you're so good?
No. So I've competed at ultra heavyweight my entire career, except for I don't really count the Naga I did as a white belt. It was an unlimited weight, and I was like, I can drop 20 pounds in 2 weeks. That's no problem. And it wasn't. I made it, and then I lost to that guy by heel hook because I didn't know what they were, and then
They were doing heel hooks in Naga at white belt.
In Nogi.
What?
Wow.
In Nogi. He was a blue belt. I was a white belt. And then I went against a blue belt in the weight class I dropped to get out of, and I beat that guy. And then in gi, I beat the dude who heel hooked me. And then he beat the other dude in our weight class. So I went all the way to Coral Springs for 3 matches.
Wow.
Which is why I don't do those. I only will do IBJJF because I can see how many matches I'm going to have. So like right now, I know I'm going to Miami. I'm going to have at least 2 in my weight. Then I can do the open 2, which usually there'll be at least 3. The smallest open class I've seen was 8.
Now, don't you have to win your division to compete in the open or something like that?
Place.
This place.
Which is how I did the open class in New York for no pants. Because I got 3rd by default. There's only 4 guys in the weight class. I kind of wish that the 4th guy hadn't signed up, because then I could have fought both of the other guys and then maybe earned a silver instead of just getting 3rd for showing up. But then normally I did Orlando was the worst I've ever done in a tournament. I lost my first match to a guy I beat before, just my timing was off and got in a scramble and got caught. Won my first open class match, was winning my second open class match to place, got caught again. Did medal in the open class. So I gave my silver medal to Luiz, like, I don't want this. I didn't do anything for it. Put it in the school and say someone else got it. So if I get a medal by default, I don't want it. I keep all my other ones in a shadow box. It looks pretty. It does. Looks nice.
You don't want a participation medal.
Yeah, I didn't. And I didn't want the bronze from Nogi Pans. The Pans medals are huge and they're really nice. So, like, it's considerably bigger than that. It's probably the size of a candle. And they're about
Big
that
candle.
thick.
Yeah. They're super cool looking, man.
Dude, I had a friend. I went to the
too, you know?
Yeah.
I went to the Pan Ams in 2003 with some friends, and the guy I went with he got upset and didn't compete in the no-gi, right? And they just mailed him a medal. he didn't even compete. He didn't even show up, right? They just mailed him a 3rd place medal. I just thought that was pretty.
Now you have to actually show up.
Yeah.
And make weight. But, so I'm keeping that one because that 3rd place by default got me into the open class where I had 2 submissions, a decision, and then I lost in the final to a really good guy from Marcelo Garcia's school. He's I saw him when I was there in April. I didn't face him in April, but he took quadruple gold in the spring open. So that's gold in his weight in gi and no gi and the open class in both. So he's pretty legit. And super nice. Like he got up and like was celebrating really big right after he tapped me. And I got up immediately. He beat me fair and square. I got up, went to shake his hand. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I was like, "Dude, don't apologize. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
You just won Nogi Pan Am's open class against someone way bigger than you. Like, you can celebrate." So I don't think I've ever been a poor sport when I lose, because if I lose, it's gonna be it's either because I was stupid,
Right.
So the only person I can be mad at is me,
right,
or because they were better. Rarely do I get screwed by a referee. And that's what happened in the first match. But dude in the final beat me fair and square. He was just better. We were deadlocked for like 6 minutes, and then we got into it. He swept me, and then when I went to catch his leg to re-sweep, he smashed right as I tried to catch it, and then he passed and took my back. We went out of bounds, so he got to reset in the center on my back with a seatbelt grip. And then it was right after that.
Right after that, yeah, instantaneously, right?
Combate. 5 seconds later, I was tapping. Damn it. So close. I would have been less mad about getting robbed by the ref if I'd still gotten gold and open. Because then I still would have won it. I wanted to win it at every belt level. I knew this was my last chance. I hadn't done it since 2014. I did it. 13 was blue belt, 14 was purple belt, and then I hadn't done it till this year.
So when's your next comp? And where's it going to be?
13th, Miami.
So we got to go to Miami to watch you. Do they stream it live?
I think so. I think Flow Grappling streams everything. Or it might just be the big ones.
Miami's a heck of a drive, but
I want to.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm saying I want to watch.
He came down for was it my first one at purple belt or blue belt?
I can't remember.
It was purple belt because I actually knew you then. Blue belt was when I met Yuri. Austin. I'd known Austin for like 2 months. And I was like, hey,
Austin would be phenomenal. I hope he's still training.
He's going like this.
Yeah, he was so good at one point. His berimbolo was really good. But actually, he gave me a phenomenal berimbolo defense because that's all he would do. He'd just berimbolo everybody, right? And then all of a sudden, I just started footlocking the shit out of him when he'd go for his berimbolo.
So you guys have never met him, but Austin was the reason why I started to develop the way I did. Like I was telling you about, when you hit blue belt, you start to pick at what you want to make your game. But white belt is sponge phase, so you take in everything. So I was 2-stripe blue belt when I was at Luiz's. And Austin would berimbolo and bow and arrow me every single
He had a really good berimbolo. I mean, Austin had a
really
good
bow and
berimbolo.
arrow every single roll. And everyone in the school knew it was coming. The only person he couldn't do it to was Pedro. Everyone knew it was coming. He would still do it. And I was so frustrated at the end of one day. I sat for like 10 minutes in the corner while everyone was just like milling around and getting ready to leave. And I was like, I want to be that good at something that everyone knows I'm going to do it, and I do it anyways. Kind of like his triangle. Unless you know exactly what to look for in his setup, he's going to do it. So the reason why I can block it is because we trained for 4 months straight for 20 minutes at a time.
I'd like to think I played a big role in your triangle defense.
Absolutely. You know? The only reason I get caught in triangles now is if I do something stupid. It's never because someone was finessey and set it up. It'll either be in a scramble or I was dumb. And then Pedro's the reason why I never get Darce anymore. Told you, he hasn't, since that defense I showed you guys. I have not been Darced by him or by anyone.
I want to see that. I want to do that class again. If you ever have time, man, come back and teach.
That's my.
I've told him to come out as much as
because I'm a repetitive person. I love the class. I didn't bring my damn GoPro, and I'm pissed off for not bringing it. Because
he's got to record it.
I record.
But see, it's good. What's really good for you is that you share similar body types. So what Stewie can do,
exactly.
You can
That's
do.
why I get started. Right? Like Stewie's a fucking beast. Yeah.
He can help your game more than I can. He can influence your game at a faster rate than I can help your game, right? Because he's been through your struggles,
Please
right?
teach us more of your.
He knows your struggles.
Wrist lock church.
So the funny thing about like body types and rolling is
on a wrist lock. Want to be up in the wrist lock church? Oh Lord. Sorry, the whiskey's kicking in. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I actually prefer rolling with people that are older and smaller. Not for the reason a lot of people think, oh, you just want to do that so you can crush. I'm like, no, that's where you learn.
Old man.
Because they have to use more technique.
Yeah, 100%. Like probably 4 of my 5 favorite training partners are 40 years old or older, and they're all under 180. And the 5th would be Pedro.
Yeah. Pedro's fun. Like I've gotten like against Pedro, but he brought a friend of or a family member with him one night when we were doing nogi. You remember him, Maddie, Pedro, his girlfriend, I can't remember her
Susanna.
name. Her, and a buddy of his, or family member from Brazil, and they rolled in. They all had matching rash guards, and I swear it was like, we're like, oh shit, it was right?
That black belt from Brazil.
Squad goals.
Exactly.
I have a Luiz Palhares rash guard though.
They walked in. I was like, oh shit, squad deep, and I got to roll with Pedro that night for the first time, and his buddy, he didn't speak English, but he obviously
was that who it was? Vinicio, kind of big nose.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a girlfriend as well from Brazil. Yeah.
They obviously knew.
My shoulder was split open that day. I wanted to roll with him, but
that was why we didn't roll at team training.
Yeah.
I remember you had something hurt.
It's still healing. It's still all
Yeah.
jacked up, making a noises.
It was fun rolling, and just to say, okay, I rolled with Pedro, right?
Yeah, that's the thing you do. You gotta find that person that you like rolling with, that's like at your level, the person you like to smash and try new stuff on, and the person that's gonna kill you every time.
I've got those.
And eventually, the person that kills you every time will become the person that you battle with, and eventually, you want them to become the person you crush. I'm just now getting to the battle phase with Pedro.
Yeah.
Because he does it every day. So when I was working, so at first our progress was like this. And then he was kind of slacking off, and I was training 10 times a week, so I would start to catch him. And I'm probably here now. He's obviously still better than me, no doubt in my mind, but I can put in work on him now. And not every roll is like, crap, now I'm going to lose. It's might catch him again now.
Yeah.
And confidence. I think confidence has a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Like,
He's my
plays a big
competition prep. Like, I don't really have... Colin is obviously very skilled, but his game is so locked in on that one style that he never changes that it doesn't work for me. Like, it's not good competition prep.
Right,
I'll go against people that play the same game,
yeah.
but they don't have his flexibility, or they'll play it a little differently, or they'll play on the other side, or they don't have his grip strength. If you don't know this, Colin has the strongest grip in our entire association.
His fingers, they look mangled, like you put him through
his
a
grip
cheese
is better
grater.
than Pedro's, and his legs are the strongest. To break his closed guard, I have to use both hands, or I have to stand up and shake him off. Otherwise, his legs might be stronger than Todd's. Todd was an Olympic runner.
Oof.
Colin's legs might be stronger.
Yeah, I think he still holds an Olympic record.
No, he holds an American record. He had the Gate River run.
Yeah. Well, I thought
he popped Alex's knee out of place once. When Alex tried to slip it out of his half guard, his knee slid out and slid back in.
That didn't probably feel good.
Nope. It almost happened to me. I tried it once, and I was like, man, that thigh is really hard.
Todd was my nemesis. As blue belts, we started training together, I think in 03 or 04, and we were each other's competition, and we were each other's measuring stick back then, right?
Todd is another big influence on me toning back the muscle and focusing on the technique. You, Todd, and John. I would love to roll with Todd more, but he moved. I hope he comes back down for whenever I get my black belt. I'd love him to be here.
Yeah, he invited me to go up there and give a seminar. So I'm trying to work that out now.
You want to go in the winter?
I do,
It's
actually.
like
I
negative
do.
40.
Yeah.
A blizzard.
Where does he live?
Monroe, Michigan.
Oh dang.
I don't know if that cold is fun.
He is one of the best teachers I've ever seen in anything ever. I commented on one of his videos the other day, because his guys will show up an hour early to do an hour of conditioning before class, and this is like people from 13 to 50.
Whew.
And I said something to him, I don't remember exactly what my words were, but I was like, you have this insanely unique quality to inspire people around you without even trying. Like, I don't know if it's because of his Olympic background or just how outgoing his teaching personality is or what, but it's so rare, and it shouldn't be, and it's so unique to him, and it's what makes him such a good teacher and such a good role model. I was like, every time I train with him, I'm inspired somehow, whether it's to try something new or to be even more technical or to go to the gym afterwards or to knock out 100 push-ups between every round. He's always got something for me.
I get that.
And it's so great. Like, it's so hard to explain. I can't explain it better than that. I know there's a better way too, but I can't put it in words.
No, I get it, and I attribute it to, training with Bobby. He's always, I'm open if anybody wants to roll with me, and I'm like, I fight it because I'm like, God, I don't want him to know how bad I suck still. But at the same time, like, I'm only gonna get better because he always gives me all these really good tips.
Rolling with the higher belts makes you better.
Absolutely.
But I agree. But I also,
You like to win too.
I like to win too, but
So
but at
he'll
the
go
same
with
time,
other.
because it's like, okay, at least I know what I'm doing is right. Like, you know, okay,
Yeah.
I can get an Americana. That is how you grip it, and you know, I have the guys.
But honestly, one of the reasons Nikki has grown as fast as she has is because we almost always roll every class, and you absorb that. Like, she's absorbing style, right? Like,
she's easy too.
What?
You think about it, like,
Hold on, let's go.
I'm just kidding. This is whiskey talking.
Oh,
Nikki,
no,
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. I know.
Nikki is a seriously hard match.
Oh, dude, she's savage.
He's hyped you up.
Dude,
wants
my
us- he
ribs
wants
Dude,
are-
we rolled last night
He
for
wants
like
us to
half
roll.
an hour.
Yeah,
My ribs
and I
are
was
not
trying to
the
get her.
same
Like,
because
I
of-
wasn't not trying to get her, but at the same time, she has absorbed my style. She knows where my attacks are. She literally, she
I
knows.
know he's going for it.
She knows what I'm setting up. We've trained for 3 years now. She's been my trainer. She's been here every day, and we've rolled every day. So she has absorbed my style. She understands it. She knows my setups. You know, so. And she uses my setup. She's become an example of my jiu-jitsu, right?
Whenever I first learned that, you know, that wrist lock where you get them to turn over, this is when I was a white belt when I was learning it. I would use that almost every time I would roll with like a white belt, because I knew the higher belts would know it, but I would try and use it, and they're like, what is that? They didn't know. But then people started like seeing I was doing it, so I had to pick something else. And the thing I'm trying to do more now is where you get the knee and then you trip them and then you get your knee there. But yeah.
So you're
that and attack the
blue belt
ribs
right now.
every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is what I
Yeah.
told him, and when I lived here, we had discussions like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to that level, and this is how I continue to progress. Pick a specialty. Obviously, you've already started to mimic Bobby's game, so you've got a specialty. When you start to plateau and you feel like you're not making progress anymore, pick something completely new.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when Austin kept kicking my ass, I was like, what am I good at and what do I like? Happened to be the same thing. I liked one particular arm bar from side control. You pull up the arm, you step over the head, spin, and drop back. Arm bars became my thing. That's why I have my Instagram handle. It's Dewey the Arm Collector.
There you go.
But I haven't arm barred in like 2 years. It's all jokes now. But I focused on arm bars, and it got to the point where I could arm bar basically anybody except for Pedro. We'll just leave him out of everybody.
Yeah,
So
just take
I
him
don't
out
have
of
to
the
keep
equation.
making that disclaimer.
Yeah, he's an exception to all rules.
I
for
could
sure.
arm bar anybody, and everyone would feel the setup coming, and I'd still drop back and then just do my grip break. And there's only like one grip I have a hard time breaking now. I used to be, if they grabbed on here, you can wrist lock them from there though. Just reach under
But
the
see,
fingers.
what you're talking about, this is why you should spend time working with Nikki. Like, I'd like for you to come in. Because do you know what her specialty is? Well, that's why I want you to come in and help my guys in general. Her specialty is the armbar. That's what she just
Yeah.
rapes guys with arm bars. She
Away from
rapes
Because
top
I
to
can,
bottom.
because I can
'Cause
see
I'm
it
a top-
everywhere.
I'm
No,
a
if
top
I see an
armbar.
arm and I have it, I'm like, nope,
Top.
it's done. I'm
Yeah.
pushing them over with my legs, or I'm gonna do something. Because if I have it, I'm like, you're done.
Yeah,
It's
if
just-
she gets to the armbar, if she gets you in an armbar setup, or she sees like that opportunity, dude, it's 99% of the time you're done. She's like,
I
she's
love
taking
that
anyone's arm.
Silverado thing too, where you get your arm and
Yeah.
you just pop it and bring it back. That's probably
Yeah.
like my favorite like break from the armbar, because it looks cool, but it actually works. And I can bend my
shoulders
arms like that. I
Yeah.
can just go.
I cannot.
And
How are you doing that?
You just
This-
you go in.
My shoulder. I
And
don't
you,
think our
you have to
shoulders
have
are
the
like
arm.
this.
You come here and then you just pop it. And then
Oh
you just,
gosh, my
put
wrists
it.
don't do that.
yeah.
Yeah, shoulders.
My shoulders.
You
my
have to
elbows
be
don't do that.
flexible for it, but a lot of people don't see like, oh, she doesn't have the right arm in. Nope, because you have to have the opposite arm, bring it over and then pop
See,
it.
for me, it doesn't matter which arm I have in. I usually like whatever arm is opposite of when they're I'm attacking. So if I'm attacking their right arm, I want my left arm in. And then if they're grabbing onto their collar, I just mirror their hand and go under the knuckle and then pull it back. And if they keep trying to hang on, they get wrist locked. If they let go to slip their hand out, they're way away from their collar and you take the arm. That one I figured out on my own. So much has come from self-discovery in the last year. Like I said when I was teaching last week, half of that has just been playing with it.
See, I'm at a point today where I got to be honest. Like, I think I quit like 2 years ago looking at other people's, maybe even 3. I quit looking at other people's technique. Like, I really don't care. My jiu-jitsu is growing, right? Like what you just said is exactly right. Like, there's one problem with everyone's jiu-jitsu is that it fits them best. Your jiu-jitsu fits you best. And there are definitely things you can share. And if anyone comes in, I'm asking them to share, but I'm not seeking outside knowledge. Like, I'm I'm not going out there. What I would rather do is just I roll every day. You know, I don't care how hurt I am. You know, I ignore it. You know, and that's where I'm learning is I'm rolling, and then I try to build my guys up as fast as I can so that they can start countering me, and then I can start building on those counters. So it's kind of my learning mentality is a little different today. Instead of just constantly seeking outward knowledge, I'm more seeking inward knowledge.
And that's the nice part about cross training, which we've talked about that too. We're both big proponents of it. I know some people aren't. And think like, oh, it's our jiu-jitsu and their jiu-jitsu, and for us, we were talking about jiu-jitsu is it's literally like a hashtag somewhere. Jiu-jitsu is for everyone, but everyone has their own games. And like what you just said, that's one of my favorite things. Luiz was saying, like, Luiz, you showed it this way and this way. Which way do you want me doing? Is whatever works best for you. They're both right. It's like, cool. But cross training that's been part of my self development on that particular series too.
And you know the interesting thing about jiu-jitsu and Luiz, I've obviously adopted his saying that jiu-jitsu is not perfect because what's right today is wrong tomorrow. I don't think there's anything right in jiu-jitsu. Like nobody can come and say that's wrong because, you know, 20 years ago the Gracie Pass or whatever you want to call it, you know, where Elio stuck the arm under and he gave up the triangle, that was right. But today that's wrong, right?
Really wrong.
And then, you know,
it's a death sentence with them.
10 years ago, the body triangle was right? It was like, dude, that was like the thing. Like, check this out. Now when you get the back, you throw this triangle and you hook the foot behind the knee, and that was right. And everyone in MMA was doing it. And today, that's wrong. Like you do that, and you're gonna get knee exploded or, you know, sliced. It's gonna be bad. So, you know, what's right today is wrong tomorrow, and really you just have to figure out what works at the time with the guy you're working with. You got to be able to process in real time. And
there is stuff like that though, like especially you said body triangle made me think of it, where you can still learn from watch people. Damian Maia figured out how to do the body triangle differently. He doesn't lock it on the side. He locks it in the middle and still drapes his foot through, and it completely protects him from the ankle lock and the knee and the calf. I can't do that. Everyone I roll with is either too big or my legs are too fat. You'd be great at it.
Yeah, interesting.
So self-discovery. So if you feel like you're plateauing, pick something new. It's like when I finally got bored with arm bars. That was particularly the time when Paige was going Darce crazy. I was like, I want to start Darcing people. It's funny because I taught that series, and those are some of my best chokes now. As a blue belt, I could not Darce, guillotine, or anaconda to save my life. And now anaconda is my best choke. I actually have tendonitis still from doing it the same way on the same side for the last 6 months. It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Getting a massage tonight. It's going to make it feel better. I've got a little like miniature stem, like electrotherapy thing at home.
Oh, nice.
Got ice packs. I'll be fine.
Go do some cryotherapy.
No.
But you know what's funny
I've done
is,
it. It's so cool.
I tell my students the same thing. You know, the beginning of your game is mastering one thing, and your game just mushrooms around that, and then eventually that you find another thing that's kind of related, and you can kind of go back and forth between those things and you build a game around that.
You get a new
mushroom. You get a new hand.
You get a new hand.
That's the thing with arm bars. Like that was what I learned early is arm bars mostly only connect to themselves. It's hard to move from an arm bar to another submission because most of the time you fall back, and then if you miss, you miss. Which is why wrist locks are a great combo with arm bars. It's also why I like arm bars from the top because I don't like getting smashed by people my size, so I'm getting stacked. Mm-hmm. But that's why I like the choke series so much because no matter what happens, I can bail out to my knees and we're both fine. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with like certain takedowns in wrestling. I was in 235. I don't want to double leg someone my size. Screw that. Single legs all day. Stay outside. They sprawl. They're sprawling on your head, not your whole body. You're not getting crushed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, we need to get you back here.
I'll start. I'll probably start
I'm
going
a big
on Fridays.
proponent. Yeah.
So, Fridays don't work. I stopped going to Luiz's on Fridays because I don't have the Noki uniform that he wants. So.
You have to have a uniform?
And I refuse to buy it.
The school? Is it the black long sleeve? They're really nice looking.
They are, but I have $300 worth of sponsor rash guards that he
Gotcha.
doesn't want me wearing because I don't have his name on them. So.
Oh.
Yeah, you're sponsored by who is it again?
I'm sponsored by Armor Kimonos. I got with them the most simple way possible. It was the beginning
I remember
of 2015.
when you were. Yeah, I remember
Yep.
when you wrote them. Yeah.
I made a highlight video of everything I'd done at purple belt to that point and a little bit of blue belt. Emailed 30 companies.
Right.
And heard back from 3.
Wow.
Didn't even get a no from all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 I heard back from were Scramble. They told me they weren't accepting sponsorships at the time. Fuji, which is Jimmy Pedro's company, they're like, no, but here's like a 30% discount, so I got a gi. And then AK was like, hey, we're interested. Like, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I was like, sweet. And like, well, what's your address? We're gonna send you this, and we'll see how it goes. And I was super active at that time. I think I hit like 8 tournaments that year, back to back months.
Who else isn't Susanna sponsored by Hyperfly? Am I right? Am I right on that?
No.
She's not. I thought she was.
I think
don't
she's
know why.
sponsored by something though.
She was
I think
sponsored
she
by.
just got sponsored by like Blackstone Labs or something. For being like a fitness model or something.
Yeah.
It's good for her because she puts in work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Any
she's really
sponsors
pretty
out there
too.
looking
She can
for
pull that
fitness
off.
models, you can sponsor me, baby.
What?
Nothing. Sorry.
it's a pulled pork eating contest.
A whiskey model.
There
Whiskey,
you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Let's see it.
Hey, you know what?
Get 'em all like Vanna White out
Yeah.
there.
Connor sent me a bottle of your whiskey, buddy. I'm waiting to try it.
The shameless marketing.
Oh my god.
So let's in sticking with the premise of our show, and we won't go down these alleys.
We
that
got
we
Jiu-Jitsu and
said.
Coffee.
No, are you into any beliefs that aren't mainstream? Like, do you?
Conspiracy.
You're gonna make me go down this.
No, I'm
rabbit
not.
hole.
No, I'm letting you. I'm
Okay.
asking you. Do you have any beliefs? It's pretty simple. Do you have any beliefs that aren't
Yes.
mainstream?
Aren't
Yes.
mainstream.
Can you share? Do you mind sharing what it is? I'm curious.
So. the
It
only
could be
reason-
holistic medicine.
No, so I'm not a denier. I don't think 9/11 didn't happen because obviously it did, but zero proof that I have. I would not be surprised if it was funded by the U.S.
Yeah, I'm
I know.
sold that it
Well,
is. I'm
let's-
so sold. Oh my god.
Let's keep it in. I know, I've had he has talked at me for 40 minutes once on this topic. The only reason I started thinking that is because I watched.
I've lost friends over this subject.
Oh, I know.
For 9/11?
Before I went full
Over
flat
any
tard, I went
conspiracy
full
theory.
9/11.
I was gonna say, dude, flat Earth probably. You lost a couple people.
I think
on.
I did.
You didn't lose me, brother.
I did.
I'm
toning it down. Like I
just avoid
I
it.
pulled myself away, and I was like, God, that's.
He sucked me in with the man on the moon. The
Funny
Cowboys.
thing.
Funny thing happened in the
Oh, no.
Space
Yeah.
Cowboys. Yeah. Or not Space Cowboys.
A funny thing
happened on the way to the moon,
Astronauts Gone Wild.
and
is the other one.
Astronauts Gone
Yeah.
Wild. Hook,
No,
line,
so-
and sinker. That shit was dope.
I started
enjoyed
thinking
watching it.
my little theory after I watched season 2 of 24. It's a great show, but this whole potential war all came back to an oil tycoon in the U.S. That was like the main villain of the show, and it was just you had to peel back the layers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many layers. I was like, what? Like it was they hadn't even named the character. It's 24 episodes. They hadn't named him until the 20th episode. That's how deep he was in, we'll call it the onion. Deep in the onion. So I would not be surprised. I know it'll never come out, but that's my one theory. I don't have any more.
What about
That-
the moon? You think we're going to the moon? In 69?
I'm not.
In
No, I've seen how
69.
many comments are on that post. I'm not jumping into that.
He said no. Not
That's
even
my
gonna
thing, man. Like,
go
I don't-
there.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
I mean, we developed the nuclear bomb way
Dude,
before that. So
If you just knew, like, what you don't see are the arguments I get in on YouTube. I'm like, motherfucker, I'll come to your house and rip your fucking arm off now.
Oh my
Bobby is
God.
the
Not
keyboard
really.
warrior that can probably back it up.
And there's a lot out there that
He's gonna like go to a SEAL's house and the SEAL's gonna be like, "Excuse me."
Seriously, I'm actually super polite. Like I'm actually way more polite. I'm joking, by the way. I'm super polite on YouTube, but I'm like I do go out there and engage in these arguments, and I
See
you
what
know,
the public thinks.
the arguments, they're discussions, and they're really me. It's helping me think, right? Like I don't, for the record, and we're not going to go down flat Earth. But what I want to say is,
You mean go across?
yeah. What I'm gonna say.
Dang.
Zing.
Dang.
It's just people having a discussion with their own mind. Like they're just trying to process some of this stuff that doesn't make sense, and they're trying to find answers. And if they discuss it with this guy, the guy might say something that can rectify this, right? Because there's just shit that doesn't make sense. You know, it doesn't. So I think they're just guys out there doing their own research, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's no one should be embarrassed, you know, that they're not just taking it on blind faith that the Earth is round. I mean, we've been deceived before. Like, if you can sit there and go, we haven't been to the moon. First off, if we haven't been to the moon, chances are we haven't been to space. Because if we're sending shit to Mars, we could easily go to the moon. So if we hadn't gone to the moon, chances are we can't. And if you can't go to space, why can't you go to space? So if you're willing to sit there and admit, well, we haven't gone to the moon, but you'd go, well, no one would ever deceive us about the shape of the Earth. Motherfucker, we just told you've been to the moon. What the fuck are you talking about? But they'd never know. You know, we fooled the whole world. Every government has a fake space agency that's out there posting CGI shit like we're out in space and we're not.
Don't act like you don't want to sign up for Space Force. Have you seen the Space Force speech with the Halo theme behind it?
Yes.
It is
amazing.
The most intense, like, best marketing propaganda for a military I've ever seen. I don't even like Pence, but I was like, sign me up. Give me some Spartan armor and one of those big old guns. Let's go. Give me the giant laser. I'm in. Sticky grenades. Let's do it. I don't know what aliens are fighting, but they're going to know American values.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Yeah, no, Space Force is awesome. Like,
I do have, so I was just thinking, I do have another theory. And it's a shared one. There's always some big fiasco to cover up another fiasco that's behind the scenes. Like, notice how Ebola just disappeared after that
every
big
year.
scare.
Every year.
Like, it was a big thing for like 3 months, and then all of a sudden we stopped hearing about it.
Yeah.
And it might have been your post with the thinking monkey goes, notice how Ebola just disappeared again? What were they hiding? I was like, you know, that's super conspiracy sounding, but I'm in.
Sounds like the swine flu. Swine flu was really
what was
big.
There was SARS one year.
SARS was a legit problem in China, but that was
still
China.
people wearing masks over there.
And Ebola.
Well, that's because of the smog. The air quality there is so far
flu.
below.
You remember that?
There was another
Man,
one
I was so
last
scared
year,
though when I was going to school, like when that was around.
What was the one with pregnancies? Like
Zika.
Zika.
Oh yeah.
Every year
That's a big thing in Brazil, but it's so the chances of it are super low. I did a little reading on it, about the virus, not about the reporting about it, but it's like
whenever I go to the springs,
if you get bit by a mosquito, you can carry it, and there's only like a 30% chance that the baby will have it. And there's like some other factors too. It's like, why is everyone freaking out about this? Just don't go to Brazil and come back.
Don't come back from Brazil if you go. Dang.
I want to go to Brazil.
I've been advised not to marry or date a Brazilian woman. By a Brazilian.
You what?
I've been advised not
Anyone
to
with
marry
Latin
or
blood,
date.
them chicks are crazy, man.
I'm addicted to crazy.
Yeah, that's why you said you wanted to go out with those pirate women when we were out that one time.
Pirate women?
No. No, we were going to Mellow Mushroom. This was after we watched
57th Heaven.
the magic
Brenden.
show. No, and then there was these ladies dressed up as pirates, and then he was like, "Dude, I'm so tempted to go just walk up and ask for their numbers." I was like, "Brenden, what?"
They're
He's
probably
like,
in their 60s too.
Yeah, they were like old ladies.
57th Heaven.
Yeah, no, they were dressed in pirate costumes. It was three ladies.
Yeah.
Catch
Kalani
scurvy.
was
Shout out
even
to
like,
them.
can you stop?
You're going to catch scurvy.
Hey, man, listen.
Oh my
Them
gosh.
girls are collecting Social Security, you know. What's up, babies?
You want a sugar mama.
You know? I'm joking. That was fun.
Sure you are.
Who knows? That's my other theory.
Why are you turning red? I should be turning
Because I'm
red.
laughing. The things like that are used to cover up other stuff. That's it. Those are my theories.
I agree.
Are you religious?
Yeah, not as much as I used to be. Like, I'm a believer, but I don't go to church.
A believer in what?
Christianity.
Wrist locks.
That too.
Wrist locks.
But I'm not evangelical. I don't like try to convert people. I mean, everyone's got their own beliefs, and so I've had this theory for a while. It's not really a theory; it's the truth. If everyone believes their religion is the one true religion and they have the one true God, what are you gonna say that's gonna make them change their mind? Nothing.
Right.
And in my mind, everyone's worshiping the same God in a different way, in a different mindset. And then if you like, I always understood agnostics more than atheists because they're, from my understanding of it, it's you believe there is something greater out there and that you didn't just appear, but you don't have any proof and you don't have the faith to believe in it. And then atheist is just, nope, science. It's like, something made us. Like, something came from nothing to make the Big Bang.
Right.
But I know Colin's an atheist. Never wanted to try.
That's why I would want to investigate it. That's why I think everyone should want to, because if the Earth were flat, the ramifications would be insane. Think about it. It would be insane. Like, every religion would be corroborated, right? Like, yeah. So we wouldn't have war. We wouldn't have crime. You wouldn't have no more murders. You wouldn't have everything.
Well, the way we do our religion is better than yours. The way you do your religion is wrong, which is what it is now. It'll just be, we're worshiping the same God, but we do it better. You need to do it our way.
I don't think you'd even have that, because what would happen is, because like all the major religions are, first off, the religions that aren't Abrahamic, we don't have problems with. Like Buddhists aren't out there causing shit. They're not starting wars. They're peaceful. The only non-peaceful religions we have are the Abrahamic religions warring with each other. And we don't even disagree. It's the same damn religion. We're all children of Abraham, right? We're all descendants of Abraham. And we all believe in, who he said is the higher being, God, right? The thing about it, is one of the best books that I've read. Now, it's the only book that I've read more than, I say read, I listen to. I do audiobooks today. If you're actually still reading today, that blows my mind. But it's the Book of Enoch, and I'm hooked on it. Like, I've listened to it. I think I'm going on number 5 right now.
I've heard of that.
How many books are there?
This was removed from the, from the Bible.
Yeah, there are books in the Bible that aren't in the Bible.
Like the Book of Ezra, the Book of Enoch. There's others. Part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, but what the Book of Enoch tells you, it describes the makeup, the cosmology of our Earth, and the plane we live in, but it goes in there to kind of let you know who your true enemies are. And this is the one thing that's not in the Bible, right? In the Bible, if you take that out of religion, then we're going to war with each other, right? It's going to be like, that, descendant of that, child of Abraham is my enemy, right?
Yeah.
But when you add the Book of Enoch in, all of a sudden you realize that the enemy are the 200 watchers that became, whatever you call them. They became evil, demonic spirits, right? And that they take. It's a phenomenal book to read. If you're into sci-fi, you'd love it. It's better than Star Trek. It's better than Star Wars. Listen to the Book of Enoch. Even the thought that it could be scripture is amazing. Because supposedly, like Enoch, it was called the scribe of God. Like he walked with God for something like 300 years, and he just shares all this knowledge. He wrote it all down to give to his son to be handed down, and it's everything God told him, basically, and all the angels. It's pretty cool. It's a cool book. Even if it's not real, it's damn entertaining.
That seems to be like the biggest argument from atheists is like, oh, it's written by man from another man from another man. I was like, so is everything you ever learn. So it's just what you choose to put your faith in.
So is the science that you believe in.
Yeah.
It's written by every person.
Yeah.
It's discovered by man, too.
Yeah.
I got in this one argument on YouTube, and this dude's like, you're searching for definitive proof, right? I'm like, definitive proof that the Earth is round. Definitive. I want something I can prove, something tangible. And I come to this page, and this dude's got thousands and thousands of followers, 60,000 followers or something. The guy's successful on YouTube. He's making a living at it. And his argument is that, I don't remember the exact argument. I just remember it had to do with the decay of muons, okay?
What?
Exactly. Do you know what a muon is? Okay.
It sounds like a cow
sounds
alien.
like a cell or
somehow the decay of muons
or atoms.
indicates that we do live on a spherical planet. Now, I don't remember the exact premise, but I'm just like, I wrote the dude, I'm like, have you seen a fucking muon decay? Have you seen a muon decay?
First of all, what's a muon?
But he's like, well, no, science has proven that because of the decay of muon, and this is his argument, right? And we're all idiots because I'm like, we're the idiots, but you're the one out there. Your proof is something that you can't touch. You can't. All you can do is take some dude's word for it. And anyway, I always go down that path a little bit. So
Muons.
we're at the.
I want to know what a muon
Move
is.
on.
That's my new thing. That's my new thing
It's
now.
time to
Like
move
if someone
on.
asks me if the Earth's round, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, we got muons, bitch." Muons prove
That's
it.
going to be Bobby's answer. Thing. Well, can you prove this to me? Well, based on the decaying of muons, yes.
I'm gonna work that.
Is this milk bad? Based on the decaying of muons, it is. Well, I'm going based off the taste. Taste isn't true.
Right.
Well, because we have gluten, the Earth is round.
That's right.
No
That
one
is-
really knows what gluten is,
that
but
is logic.
I mean,
Don't be a muon.
look.
We still don't know what it is.
I don't know what
Does
a
that
muon is. I
does
didn't
that
bother
mean my
look-
head is round or
I didn't
something?
bother looking.
Don't be a
So
muon.
supposedly you can see the curvature of the Earth from the top of Mount Everest. So I want to go.
Let's go.
You can't. You can't. I'll just save you the try.
Shit.
Have you gone?
No, but I've
How do you
watched
know?
because so
Too many clouds.
no because this is what
Started it,
happens.
Just so you know.
You
Is
started this.
first off, people go, well, I can see the curvature from an airplane, right? So if you actually
Keep it to 1 minute.
yeah, if you 30 seconds. If you actually look at photos, like people say that because that's what you want to believe, right? So you just like you're told that, and you're like, you want to believe that, but that's only at you're talking about 30 to 36,000 feet, depending on which direction you're going, right? There's actually rockets that have gone to amateur rockets, by the way. The farthest amateur rocket I've found to date has went 240,000 feet, not 30, 240,000 feet, and it didn't have fisheye lenses, and then it slows down in space at 240,000 feet, and you can clearly see in every direction it is flat as can be, flat, just in every direction. It just sits there and kind of gyrates at a slow rate of speed.
He's a gyrates.
And
Did I hear
You're the
gyrate?
only person on the show so far who just like laughed at that.
Did I hear gyrate?
did.
I like gyrate. Go ahead.
I like gyrating. I gyrate sometimes.
I gyrated
Sometimes when I'm
this
in my
morning.
room.
I think that's enough whiskey for you guys.
Master gyrator. But they have rockets that go anywhere, rockets and balloons that go anywhere between, 100 feet to 240,000 feet, and they all have a perfectly flat horizon. Perfectly flat. I can show you. I can send you the videos, video after video, and they're perfectly flat. There's no way from Earth you can observe.
I'm going to sign up for Space Force, and when I go find that it's flat, I will tell you. Or if I find out that it's round, I'll tell you. And you know I'm trustworthy.
All right.
Just a little bit more. Don't judge me.
I'll take a picture on my phone from space. Be like, look, here it is, live. Live stream on Facebook.
And then I'll be
They've
posting
sent
it.
iPhones up, right? They've sent iPhones, GoPros,
Yeah.
at least into low Earth orbit.
Yeah.
And GoPro will always have the problem of it has a curved lens, so
Yep.
like, what's the lens? All right.
It is. It's official. They have software that can correct it. But you can see it's the lens because you can see, just like when the dude's jumping out of the Baumgartner or whatever his name is, when he's doing that jump out of whatever you
Man,
call
you
it.
better keep that stuff
You
over
can see
there,
it's
okay?
bent. You
I'm
can
not
see
trying to
you
be
can see
weird.
the background's bent. You can see it's all bent. You know it's a curved
You've
lens.
tried to get me in
That was
trouble.
one of the coolest things I've seen in my
Okay.
lifetime. Was that jump. The space jump.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
He almost died, though. He had to wake up mid-fall.
That's insane.
Well, that's what happens when you jump from how many thousand feet. He was in one of the spheres. I don't know which one. Really, really far.
Yeah, I don't know how high he was up.
No thanks.
Far enough that he needed an oxygen tank, not just a mask. Full thing. I don't think the tank was on the thing he was on. It was attached to him.
So,
Angel,
I think
an
we
angel
covered-
just flew over. They said that when there's a group of people that's real quiet and it gets silence, they say an angel.
What's that now? What do you?
I'm saying when there's a group of people that are talking and all of a sudden
Steps
there's,
up.
there's an angel that went over.
Oh,
Yeah,
there was. Okay, I didn't know that. There was an
Yeah.
angel that went over.
it's a myth.
Oh, okay.
So since we went down the conspiracy
God.
rabbit hole, let's bring it back around to the
Jesus.
jiu-jitsu hole.
Yeah, I guess that's the
jiu-jitsu
interesting
hole.
part. Is we-
Jiu-jitsu hole.
Oh
is
my God.
I always leave jujitsu. The whole point of the podcast is supposed to be jujitsu. But
Jiu-jitsu and coffee and conspiracy.
What about jokes? Dad jokes?
this weekend we've got Quintet coming up, right?
Yes.
We've
I
got
want to do that.
McGregor versus Khabib coming up.
I'm working.
We're gonna do.
That's Saturday. I'm working
Saturday.
Saturday.
Because we're doing quintet at your house, and then we're doing UFC here.
Dude, my next 2.5 weeks are slammed. I've got a class tomorrow at 8 to 7, same thing Tuesday, same thing Wednesday. I've got Thursday morning off. I go back to work Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, half of Sunday. I go back to DeLand Sunday night, fly out of Sanford to West Virginia to visit Gene for a week, come back on the 12th from the Sanford airport, drive to Miami, compete the 13th, drive back to Jacksonville the same night, go back to work the next day.
That sounds like a really fun schedule.
It's very busy.
Very busy.
I'd rather be busy than bored.
Can cops carry guns on planes?
No.
Marshals can, though. Federal
Yeah,
marshals.
you have to have like a special permit. Or a
We
special-
had a guy training here for a while who was a federal agent. He was like, I think, what's the name for that? Like, there's a better name for it. But he would be like one of the guys that would like
Secret
No.
Service.
Secret Service.
Oh, Secret.
Like he would be like if there were a diplomat traveling somewhere, he would travel with them, right? But he can travel anywhere in the world with a gun. He can travel overseas
Lessons
flights
on the
with
planet.
guns. Yeah. Now I don't know. I shouldn't say anywhere in the world. I don't know if he can fly like within Europe with guns, but any flight leaving or coming to the U.S. and anywhere within the U.S. he can carry. And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
That
super
is pretty cool.
That's super cool. And he works at a like consular office right now. I think he's in Egypt in a consular office. Yeah.
Help.
Making bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that overseas money, that tax.
He said before every flight, like they have this room they go to. So anytime he's flying, he has this room he kind of reports to, and he introduces himself to any air marshals that are on the flight and the captain. They all know who everyone is before every flight. Anyone that has a gun goes in that room, and they.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was telling me about it.
Cool.
He also had a habit of turning his phone off, and no matter. Once we were on private conversations, like if we would go to
Take the battery
Taco
out.
remember
Bell to
you would
eat or
tell
whatever,
us
he would
that.
always be sitting there, and this guy's he's a federal agent essentially, and he's like, we're getting ready to sit down and just have random conversations, and he'd always pull the battery out of his phone and then sit on his phone. He would always,
Even with
and
the
I'm like,
phone.
what's up? He's like, dude, if you knew what I knew, you would always remove the battery from your phone. I was like,
Jump in
shit,
an iPhone, then you can't
What's
take
up,
the batteries out.
FBI?
yeah. So
I feel like anyone who's in that kind of profession or my profession should do jiu-jitsu. Like, I get so tired of seeing videos of, like, it taking 8 officers to take one person down. I was like, you know who could solve that? One suplex.
yep,
Plant them
Boom.
on their dome.
yep.
Or, like, it's against Jacksonville City's policy to use jokes. You can't really joke anybody.
Oh, I thought you said jokes. I was
No,
like, I can't
jokes.
joke with the dude. What's up, man? I want to
Dang.
joke with him, man.
Let's
That's
say I
not
got a
cool.
pretty good joke.
We can't choke because one person did it wrong a while back, and there are agencies all over the country that don't allow chokes, even though it's in FDLE's curriculum, which I think is stupid. You take away the single best weapon that a person has on their own body, not on their tool belt. Because I don't care how much PCP you're on. If I take the blood away from your brain, you're gonna go out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you can have pain tolerance of like an elephant on steroids, just from some PCP or meth.
Right.
Yeah, you could break someone's arm. They're just gonna.
You can hit
Keep
them
fighting.
with taser repeatedly. You can put holes in them, and they'll just keep going.
Oof.
But
Like
you turn their
zombies.
brain off,
Can't breathe.
they done.
Yeah.
Like
They
it's
just sit
just
there.
someone posted a video there. I think it was Joe Harbin. He's a retired sergeant, great guy. Of like finally it was like a highlight of cops winning fights. I was like, yay! You always see a cop gets ass kicked. I was like, of course they did, because none of them know how to fight. And you get like the Marcelo Burgos, and you're like, I want that guy.
Yeah, and there's some seriously overweight cops out there too. That's what's concerning
That's
too.
countrywide.
God bless, like
Yeah, but then the criminal
Obese.
can't like pick them up or anything. So you could
They're
just
not-
sit
they
on
don't
them, you
try
know.
to fight them. They try to run.
Just sit on them.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there's still cops that are still doing the service, but God bless.
Yeah.
Get on the treadmill, buddy.
Yeah, at least do something.
Yeah, at least the military
Kinda
has,
keep
you
yourself
know.
fit.
I see it every
Oh,
day
I'd
at
be-
the
I would
hospital.
be overweight
I see
in the neighborhood.
fatties every day in the military, and I'm just like, how are you in standards? It's only a matter of time, but I wish it was quicker. Maybe it would change something too. Like it would snap something in these people's brains. Like, look, I'm in the military. I'm trying to set an example. You
Yeah.
know, and in Navy is where I work in the Navy hospital, and I see some of these sloppy Navy sailors, right, in their uniforms. Just, I mean, And it takes time to get that obese, right?
But don't
it
they
takes
have PT
time.
every day? Don't they have?
No, not necessarily.
If only.
And there's desk jobs out there, and you know, I'm a bigger guy, but I have a standing desk at work. I try to stand on my feet. I think it's sitting at a desk 8 hours a day is cancer, right? For me,
Try doing it for 12.
when I went from to the IT career, I gained 40 pounds in the first 5 years from just sitting at a desk. So I was like, I got to cut that shit out, and I got to watch what I eat because I don't have a labor-intensive job. But you see it, I see him every day, and I look at it, and I kind of just shake my head like, God dang, man. I really wish that they would do something more. Yes, there is, when you're in certain places, they do a lot of time to PT. But, you know, fucking exercise is only 10% of it.
Yeah, diet.
You know,
much
diet
bigger.
is such a big, and the times you eat, and what I've learned, and yes, I'm not a proponent, I'm not a men's fucking health magazine cover model, but fasting or just spreading time out to let your body digest the fucking food you eat helps tremendously. And when I was on a 1 meal a day diet, right, I had energy like a freaking crackhead, but it's hard. It's discipline and being able to. You know, it's been a few months since I was on that 1 meal a day shit, and I did it for a good week solid, and I loved it. And I don't know why I don't go back to it. It's just hard in society, right? You're trained to eat. My whole life I've lived to eat 3 meals a day. I try not to eat breakfast. I try to push out that first meal. You don't eat breakfast, right?
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
I'll eat when I wake up, but not if I'm training. Like if I'm waking up and going to work, I'll get a smoothie.
Yeah.
That's it.
Something small, because you feel sluggish in the carbs, man. I can tell after like a big carb-loaded meal, like I feel like shit. I'm fucking tired. I just want to go to sleep. But load up with a bunch of veggies. If you get into the point where like you just fucking love vegetables,
I love vegetables.
You're in a good place though. But
Like, I
they're
could eat
so
salad
good,
every
though.
day.
But I was the same way.
Oh, that's how I lost weight in 2013 when I went from white to blue belt. I went from, that was my old gym. I was the second biggest person in the gym at 250. We had a black belt at 255. I lost 40 pounds and was still the second biggest guy in the gym.
Wow.
I went to 210.
I'm borderline want to do a little small competition with someone in my gym, just like, hey man, I pull them aside. Let's see who can lose some fucking 20 pounds and just to get me back to being more. Because right now I'm like, I don't care. I lost 30 pounds and I feel fucking great. I fit the clothes that I used to have.
Nice.
I don't really have a huge incentive to lose another 20. I want to. But there's no like competitive edge to that.
I was so cut then that this right here, this line was 90 degrees between my tricep and my deltoid. It was like that. That's how skinny I was. It was awesome. It made my face look really long, though. Longer than
to think that we were the same weight once. I was 215.
I know.
Yeah, we talked about it
Your
here.
head was very round at that time.
It was round. It was. Like my face got
But,
like.
God,
I used to
I
be
think it was a shaved head,
115,
too.
but not
my
anymore.
my Navy waist, and I've seen the pictures. God, you look good, man. At
I was
215.
pretty handsome.
You're pretty fucking handsome, man.
I was.
Not taking away from you now. I don't want to get too homo.
You were a hunk.
But
I've
I mean,
turned men gay. I'm sure.
if you had a stamp,
not
it was,
certain, but
it was USDA
Oh my
prime beef,
I
brother.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
Fine.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
So
I think-
I'll step off the
slice of ham right there.
I'll step off the soapbox, but yeah.
Colin and Ray
When-
used to tease me about it. Like they used to call me a Neanderthal. They did. That was they're like, dude, you were built like a Neanderthal back in the days.
A little bit. Now because I'm thinking that one picture, and
Neanderthal.
lumbering would be the word I would use.
Yeah.
Your logo too. I think the one you stamp in the middle. When you're surrounded by all of us. Yeah.
Me, Bobby.
Yeah. I was.
Club you head.
Bobby equals
Man, when
sex.
I started, I was only 115, but now I'm like 160.
60?
I thought you said
160.
116. I was like, ooh, you put on a whole
160.
pound.
I ate a
No.
tater tot and
Did
gained
No.
I take a shit and lose 8 pounds?
No.
Are you kidding me?
No, now I'm 160.
160. Yeah, but you're growing. Dude,
Yeah,
you're like,
you-
what, 18 barely?
You know how
Yeah,
much
but I started when I was 15.
You know how much I
That's-
grew between 16 and 18? Like 50 pounds.
Dang.
Yeah, well, I hit a huge growth spurt at the end of high school.
Mhm.
Like, I went from my sophomore year, the lowest I was in my sophomore year was 163. I wore a small shirt and a 32 size pants. I now wear an XL shirt and 36s, maybe 38s, depends on the day and the cut of the pants.
You're pretty tall though too, right? Like,
Yeah, 6'2".
Yeah.
Then
I'm the same size but short.
I started to gain weight after Christmas. I hit my lowest. I would say I peaked at my lowest at Christmas, and then slowly started to gain towards the end of the season, wrestling at 171. And then literally 2 weeks after the season ended, I was already over 180. My coach was like, I want you to go up a weight class next year. I was like, what should I do? He's like, eat and lift. So I got a personal trainer and started eating like crazy. Went from 163 in December to 210 in October.
Wow.
And then dropped back down to 189 without a problem. And then you could see the difference in pictures from our team pictures my junior and senior year. Weighed the same, considerably more muscle mass.
All right.
But still had no problem making the weight. And then I hit another, so that was a small growth spurt. That was maybe like a 10-pound growth spurt. Hit another growth spurt between, actually didn't hit one that year. Between my senior year of high school and freshman year of college, I was still the same. Then I hurt this shoulder. There's still different sizes. If you look closely, this shoulder's bigger than this one. I got slammed on this one really hard, and it just had like almost, what's the word, atrophy. Like it didn't tear anything. It didn't pop my shoulder out, but my range of motion was like 2 inches in every direction for like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't wrestle, so I was able to I could maneuver my arm and do some like bench press, and I could curl. I put on 10 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks, and then could barely make weight again.
Wow.
You know, talk about dropping weight instead of gaining weight. I cut 18 pounds in 3 days.
Whew.
I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that's that wrestler, fucking.
I didn't do it right.
Right.
I dropped 13 pounds the first day. What I had for 3 days for breakfast, I had a quarter of a grapefruit, not half, a quarter, so half of a half, like one piece, a wedge.
A wedge of a grapefruit.
For lunch, I had a salad bowl, probably a little bit bigger than the candle. That was it. And for dinner, I had a half a PB&J for 3 days.
Your calorie deficit.
I made weight and made practice all 3 days. It was also the first week back off my injury. And I made weight. My coach goes, "You're not wrestling. You look like you're about to die." And I was like, "Thanks." Put all of it back on in a day. Next week, had to drop 20 pounds in 4 days. Made it again. First match back off of injury, defending national champion.
There you go.
Did not go well.
Ugh.
I held my own pretty well considering he was a national champion and I was a freshman wrestling on varsity in Iowa. And
Big
God,
wrestling.
yeah,
Midwest, right?
Yeah, where it's like the big
wrestling.
thing.
Yeah.
And that team crushed us. But had it been a close match, me holding him to a regular major decision and not giving up bonus points would have been a big deal. It was still, I still was given props by my coach. I was like, I just got murdered. He goes, yeah, but you kept fighting. I was like, whoa.
All right.
And then that summer I hit another growth spurt, and I worked at a golf course, and I was still wrestling. So I went from
Caddyshack.
no,
It wasn't fun like Caddyshack?
no, to empty trash a lot and fill in divots. I lived up there that summer, was still lifting and still training, but our conference tournament for JV was the last tournament of the year. I gained 20 pounds in less than 7 hours. I weighed in at like 196.8. By the end of the day, by the end of the tournament, it's like 4 p.m., I was 214.
So a shit ton of water.
So my coach was like, don't go over 215. Like, maintain 215 this summer. We're going to give you a huge 197. I was like, Dad, I'm already there. He was like, oh, all right. Then I gained another 15 that summer. I didn't think it was fat either. I got to about 230. Probably was in hindsight though. My lean body mass, because we had to do a body fat test for the police, and it's at the HIT center, and they put you in a bod pod, which is super sciencey and very accurate. My lean body mass is 197. Like that's 0% body fat. Dang. Yeah, dang is right. I physically can't get to under 205, otherwise I'll die. So that's no longer a realistic goal. That was my goal for the longest time. I was like, Bobby, I'm going to get under 200 so we can roll more. This is when I was still super aggressive and muscly. And he's like, get under 200 and we'll talk. And I was like,
I remember telling you that. I was like, no,
it's like,
we're taking a break.
it's like, Bobby, it's not going to happen. Then we're not going to happen. Oh, sad face. So,
Dang.
You know
So
what?
You're still growing, Nikki.
You know what? I graduated high school.
Great. But at least I work out with it. So.
6'4", 135.
damn, you were
Imagine me 135,
That's
the same
like
height.
your waist was like the size of your arm.
Yeah. I was like anorexic. I was like, and I ate everything. I drank Coke all day and Cheetos and Doritos, and of course I knew nothing about health back then whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. But
all of the junk food.
Yeah. And that's interesting, right? Like someone can stay that skinny and just eat like crap, or people can be super morbidly obese and they're eating the same
yeah.
kind of
Well,
diet.
I think you can. I could at 18, 19, 20, even up until about 30. But at 30, all of a sudden, I started seeing it like that. Like then, I was like, I could see it instantly go to my stomach, and I know what my genetics are, and I could tell you, I would look. If I didn't follow some sort of fairly strict diet, I would be built like Mr. Potato.
That's a really long potato.
Yeah, I'd be like
He'd be like a sweet potato.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture Mr. Potato doing triangles on people. And
I don't think it worked as well.
It also helps to know your body type. Like Bobby's clearly an ectomorph, and I'm somewhere between endo and meso. Like I put on muscle really easily, but I also put on fat really, really easily, and I have a hard time dropping both. That wasn't even the end of my growth spurt. When I quit wrestling my sophomore year, I gained 40 pounds. I went from the lowest I could get that season. So I quit at the beginning of my sophomore season. The coach sucked all the fun out of it for me. Never thought it would stop being fun, and then it was. Got down to about 222. I was like, Coach, I don't think I can make 197 again. Can I go heavyweight? And he's like, sure. Quit a week later. Went from I'll use that as the starting number. Went from 222 or 223. Never actually saw it on the scale. I'm pretty sure I peaked at 275 in 2 months.
That's a lot of weight.
I went to class, and I went back to my room and watched Netflix. That was all I did. I stopped going to the gym because I was still lifting, but it was a tiny gym.
Right.
And the whole college used that one gym. There's only 1,300 people at the college, and the coach used the gym, so I saw him twice. And he was a dick both times. Like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not even going to lift. So my best friend kind of spiraled with me. He had a fast metabolism. That's all the shit I was eating. He was fine. But he just kind of rode out my depression with me.
I was gonna say, does that play a big factor, like in your coach believing in you? I mean, because I would think that, like, if I had a shitty coach, like I wouldn't want all this work that you're doing for them.
Yeah, it did. Like there were red flags here and there, and then it seemed like he stopped caring, and I wouldn't have fun anymore. So I quit, and then I moved back to Florida. But when those 2 months, 40 pounds, and there's a reason, and this is a funny story if you like to laugh at fat people.
Oh God!
I can laugh at him because I is him.
Me too. So, our cafeteria was great. We had an Otis Spunkmeyer cookie oven, like right when you walked in.
Right, I know.
And they had the ones that were cooking or baking, and then they had the ones that were already ready. So I would walk by and grab 6 in each hand, and stick them in my pocket, and then go get my food.
Right.
Then I would go sit down, take them out, put them in my backpack, eat my food. Go back, get 6 more in each hand, stick in my pocket, get my seconds, put in my backpack. Then I'd go back on the way out, grab 6 more in each hand, put in my pocket, and then 6 more in each hand and walk out. I'll walk out with, how many is that?
Dang.
48 cookies, and I'd eat them all before dinner. I would fill a Tupperware and eat all of them. My group of friends like, dude, will you share? I'm like, fuck no, get your own. I had to smuggle these out. Like the Han Solo of cookies.
Oh my God.
After you graduate, they're probably like, God, we don't go through as many cookies.
But that was my cookie smuggling story, and that was probably how and I used all my campus cash on the convenience store and just bought up all their candy every night.
Dang.
When I was
That's funny.
right out of high school, I went into the Air Force, and I was 135 when I went in, and after I came out of basic 165, but then I went to tech school, right, in Shepherd Air Force Base. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Well, somewhere in Texas, and yeah, it was Shepherd, and God dang, man, Air Force treats you right, man. They had 2 of these restaurants, and each one of them was like as good as like a Longhorn Steakhouse.
Oh, wow.
It's better than Orion's, but when you'd go in, you'd have this card, and you could eat as much as you want, and they had like islands of like steak and shrimp and lobster, and then they have like an island of like salad, and an island of desserts and cookies and cakes, and just
ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was all day, every day, and I was there for 6 weeks, and I'm like, this is unreal. And I could go there morning, afternoon, evening, and eat as much as I wanted. It was unbelievable. We're talking, I don't know if it's
So
still like
bad.
that.
Oh,
but
it's still like that. And
The
the
Air
Army,
Force
they eat out of
was-
dumpsters, Navy, it's basically, Section 8 food, whatever you get off the back of an old rotten truck.
it was
Space Force has got to probably have put that to shame.
Yeah,
And
okay,
then the
yes.
Space Force
No,
up and
they're gonna
running.
get MREs.
No, they're gonna have like legit. They're gonna be have
These are
5-star
space
chefs.
burritos.
Space
Like, what's different? It's got alien meat. No. So it's funny, like, when I hit 275, I didn't even notice it. I knew I was gaining weight. I had no idea.
What do you do
how
for
big I
clothes?
got.
Like with that much weight change, are you just constantly in sweatpants?
No, I had one pair of jeans that still fit, and I just recycled them. Dude, I was like, it was a bad time in my life. Looking back on it, it was really rough. It didn't feel as bad then because I had my best friend that was my roommate, and he, like I said, he wrote it out with me and kept me distracted the whole time.
Right.
And the shows we binged on Netflix were always comedies, so that was good. But then I came back and stepped on the scale at my parents' house, and it said 270, and I was like, holy shit. I have never been this big in my life, and I hadn't weighed myself from the day I quit. So I had no idea I'd put on that much.
That was after.
Mm-hmm.
After.
Then,
wrestling, right.
yeah.
Yeah. that
Then I
happens
came
with
back. I
athletes, right?
immediately started working with the team in my old high school, like wrestling every day, basically doing the entire practice that they did. I'd warm up with them, I'd drill with them, and I'd roll with them. And I went from 275 or 270 to 238 by the end of February. So 2 months, I dropped all that weight I'd gained,
Good.
almost.
Yeah, no.
I cut out sweets, and I cut out everything fried and processed for 5 months, and dropped all the way down. Also put on, I had another growth spurt. So as I lost weight, I gained a crap load of muscle. I started doing, I still don't know where I found it. I found it by accident. It was a 3-month workout with the first month is 4 days, different day, different muscle group each day. And then it repeats for 4 weeks. Second month is 5 workouts that are different than the first month, and you do those 4 weeks. Then the third month is another different 5 workouts. It's the best workout program I've ever found. And I still have it saved to this day. That's the one I recommend people who are trying to get bigger and stronger, because I got both.
You still got it saved, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Send it, brother.
All right.
Send it.
Uh,
I fell out of the gym. When I started jiu-jitsu, I kind of
It's hard to make time for both.
It is,
It
which
is.
is why I want
And
that.
work.
That's why I want that watch, because then I'll be able to hit both and get a double workout on a work day and have a normal eating schedule where I can do it fast.
I went to the gym today and I was like, and just low weight reps. I was like, fuck, I could just feel all the gains lost. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. It's I fucking love jiu-jitsu. I'm not gonna ever stop. Like I know.
I had to
I'd
make a
rather
choice
be mat
one
strong
day.
than gym strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm very mat strong. We talked about that. I don't know if you were sitting with us when we were telling Kalani about it. I'm super mat strong. I'm not gym strong. I will get outlifted by every single person my size, almost without a doubt.
I'm okay with that.
Yep, because I will crush them in strength on the mat. It's a
Right.
different type of strength.
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing is, so that 275, I think I've got a picture I can show you guys. It was rough. Like,
Yeah, 275 is
damn,
a lot
my
of
head
fucking
was
weight.
round.
And
Like,
uncomfortable too. Tying your shoes, fucking losing your breath, I'm sure.
yeah,
Have you ever,
because you're like
like,
folding over your
You're folding
diaphragm.
over, you can't fucking breathe tighter than your shoes. Clothes don't fit. You just fucking
I know,
on a
I've
flight of
got-
stars, you get winded.
Oh yeah. So I
Yeah,
know I've
it
got
sucks.
both pictures that I want to show you. The picture. So we just went on a cruise in June. I peaked at 265 after the cruise. It was-
Cruise is good eating too.
oh, it was.
Cruise is like Vegas. In Vegas, man, that you sit at a fucking slot machine. They'll just keep bringing you drinks. You go to
I'm
a
gonna
buffet.
pay for them.
No, I've heard it. I've just from hearing people like all you have to do is like sit at a table and they'll bring you free drinks at the casinos. You don't have to pay
Here it
for
is.
them.
Okay, so this was me at my sister's graduation at 270. Before,
Yeah, I can.
before you can even see it through the black shirt. That was before the gym. Thanks for
I
that.
was just showing everybody what we're looking at. That's your sister.
Yeah,
She's great too, man.
she is in New Zealand right now.
Lucky her.
Ooh, nice.
Working.
Yeah. So that was me. That was 2011. That was pre intense lifting. Like after that, I got back into the gym hard. It was like I was a gym rat for like 4 years. I didn't stop until second year at UNF when I started to do jiu-jitsu in Jacksonville. And I was like, I don't have time to wrestle and do jiu-jitsu and go to class and study. Which I hardly studied anyways, so.
You're just super smart.
No, the tests were easy.
Yeah.
That's what being smart is.
No, they were just, the material was easy.
Really?
So then in this picture, I'm 265, and it looks completely different.
Uh-oh. Did you drive your cop car up here?
Yeah.
Alex said your car's unlocked.
Alex.
Ask her.
Yeah,
now.
he said
Or ask
on
him
the
now.
post. Okay.
Huh?
How much did you weigh this?
265.
Wow.
Right, basically the same outfit. It's
Yeah.
a completely different way to carry the weight. My
Right.
face doesn't look so round.
Right.
They also made me look not vampire-ish white.
I don't
Great.
think he's out there anymore.
You want to go check?
Sure.
So confused.
I got you.
I swear, if the door is open and I hit lock, it won't lock.
Do you still have
Because there's creepy people out there.
Oh, I know.
Well, St. John's.
Do you still have a personal car, or you pretty much just drive the cop car?
I have a personal car. I have to use that when I drive back to visit my parents, and if I transport the dog anywhere.
Yeah.
That dog would not shut up last night. And first night at the new house, giant yard, but he was.
Oh, first night at the new house, huh?
Mhm. He was so confused. I felt kind of bad. Like when I closed the garage behind him, he like
What's
was
going
like
on?
pacing back and forth in the back of the car. So I have a little hatchback, and so it's perfect to transport him. And he loves riding in it. Like as long as the car's off, I'll open the door, he'll hop right in, and then he'll sit down, and wait for me to close it, and then he knows when I open it to wait for me to grab the leash before he jumps out. He didn't want to get out. I was like, get out.
You know, we got a fueling station like right
I was gonna say, yeah.
caddy corner.
City.
Yep, I use that one when I come to visit my friends up here. There's
Yeah.
one down close to me too.
It's nice because we almost always have a cop sitting across the street because they pull out of there and they just pull in that church parking lot.
Yeah.
Check tender.
Churches are great places
Yeah.
to sit. People don't usually bother you at a church. You never want to sit in a business parking lot, especially on an open business. So people bother you.
Just asking you random dumb questions, or just
Or
they have an issue.
you can get flagged down a lot in business parking lots. It's also if you don't want to get flagged down, you don't sit in front of the substation either, because everyone knows where the substations are. So they'll go there, and if it's after hours, then it's whoever's there gets the call.
Yeah.
It's locked. Your son just scared me.
DJ?
He's here.
I jumped. I was going out. I was gonna go out the door, and I did like a cool jump, and I see someone in the fridge. I fell on the ground. He's like, I didn't know who that was. Sorry.
Alex?
You know, I should
no,
also
no.
share one of the
His
things.
son.
I think everyone should know this, is that I chose the name. I didn't choose, actually. I agreed on the name with my ex-business partner of Checkmate, and I thought it was so cool. So I thought, man, that's exactly what it is. That's what jiu-jitsu should be. It's a battle of intellect, and you put them in checkmate, and they have to acknowledge that you beat them, right? But any intellect that came here was like, bro, you play chess? I'm like, nah.
He
Never played.
All he knew was what checkmate meant. He didn't
Right.
even know what it meant in the
Right.
game. He just knew it meant.
Oh,
that you
really?
won.
Yeah, I never
Really?
played. I never
Oh,
played
wow.
a game. I
Okay.
literally never played a game of.
And
then
when
Stuart.
I found that out, I went on him.
Yeah, Stuart, and I thought I was getting like, it just didn't look like a cool game to play. It didn't look like a fun game to play. Like, right, and Stuart convinced me into playing and taught me how to play chess.
We played every night that I taught here, which was 3 nights a week, sometimes 4 if
Yeah.
you needed help, for 4 months.
I got addicted, and after you left, I'd be in my car, just
He
playing
downloaded
chess,
like
man.
4
Dang.
chess apps.
Yeah, I was everywhere.
Well, that's
red
good.
Is
light.
that
It's
why?
good,
Is
too.
that why on the invitation you were like, "Oh, I'll bring the board," or
Yeah.
you bring the
Yeah, I
pieces
got
or
the
whatever?
pieces. I didn't
Oh,
realize.
dang.
I didn't realize you guys would be
He'll
here
just
too.
beat me hands down right now. Like, I haven't played in
But
a
I haven't
year.
played since the last time I played him, and he says he forgot how to play. Do you remember what you said the first time you beat me?
I didn't know I
Did
even
you say
beat you.
checkmate?
Are you sure? I don't think. Did I
'Cause
have
it
I
was
beat you?
like I spit my water out over the board.
What did he say? Bazinga.
Earmuffs.
No. Oh, earmuffs.
What did I don't remember this.
He beat me. He goes, I'm going to masturbate 3 times tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds like something I'd say.
And then I quoted him on Facebook, and someone goes, what? And he goes, I'm already 2 in.
Oh my god. It's messed up.
I was like 25-1.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so
Dang.
happy that I vaguely remember this, right? But
We used to play at the table out in the lobby every
Yeah.
night.
I wasn't
I'd
sure.
put on some music.
But hell yeah,
and
I would be happy as hell. I can tell you right now if I beat you, because I know you were like which
I was
it's
better
so-
as a kid.
You were your high school chess champion. Is that right?
No,
Is that
I'm middle school. There was only one person. I had no friends as a kid, so I was in the chess club. And there was only one guy I couldn't
Yeah,
beat.
but that means you know your stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Chess-
was-
chess
that's
really
very
makes you
like
think.
you rarely like see the wrestling gym guy, right, and
Right.
equate that to being
A chess player.
the chess guy, right?
Yeah.
So
Or
Stewie was
Glee
always
Club.
a bit of a paradox. He was always a bit of a,
Someone that I worked with at Publix who assumed I was a dumb jock. I was like, I wouldn't even call a wrestler a jock, and I graduated with honors from college and high school. I had 3.9 GPA, so screw you.
And
There
now I'm
you
gonna
go.
put you in a chokehold.
And then for the next
Right.
2 month, for the rest of the time I was here, every time I walk into a kid's class, Bobby's using some analogy with chess. I was like, Bobby, you didn't know that a week ago.
I know. But what was messed up is like he taught me, but this is messed up. He's like a black belt. Like what black belts do this, right? You think you know everything, then they hit you with some shit you don't know about, and it's like, bro, that's not even cool, man. I didn't even know about that because I remember like we were playing later. I remember we were playing at one point. The one thing I do remember is like I was like, oh, this motherfucker's done. I got him, right? And then you like hit me with something like a Oompa Noomp or something. I don't remember the name of it.
Oompa Noomp.
Oh, en passant. I had
passant.
to Google it to make sure I was doing
Right.
it right while we were playing.
But I had no idea. All of a sudden he hits me with this crazy ass move. I'm like, what the hell's that? And he's like, en passant, whatever.
Then the first time he almost beat me, he got me down to like my last 2 pieces, and he was just going ham on my king. And I just kept moving, and I was counting the moves in my
Yeah.
head. If you get to 25 consecutive moves without, I just had my king. If it's 25 consecutive moves without checkmate, and it's only the king left, it's stalemate. Did that to him twice. The first time he's like, "That's bullshit! I beat you." I was like, "Stalemate, bro."
Yeah. Damn.
Dang.
He was so close. He only had he had 2 pieces that you couldn't, or 3, because it was 2. He had like his king and like a bishop. So he had nothing he could win with.
Yeah, that was such a big day for me because I always admired people that could play chess. Like that is the game of intellects, right? Like
Yeah.
if you ask me, like chess there's so much going on. Like that trumps CGI for me. That's better than
I got a nice chess set at home. So
man.
Friday night.
I
maybe
just
we'll
we
break
need to
it
warm
out.
up. Like it's gonna take me a game or 2 to kind of get my groove back on. Right? I haven't done it in so long.
I haven't either.
I
My
don't think
grandfather
I've-
taught me when I was
when
a
I was-
teenager.
Yeah, when I was little, I would try to play it with my sister. We were like 5 or 6, but we only knew how to play checkers, so we would just move the pieces like we would in
Yeah.
checkers.
My dad
But
taught me
I
when I was
never
5.
got to learn.
My sister was in gymnastics. We would wait for her to be done. He taught me how to play it on a dinosaur checkerboard.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was awesome. So it always bothers me, like you see the Jiu-Jitsu and chess T-shirts.
Oh,
The
wow.
rankings are always wrong. It drives me insane. This is a king. It is the weakest piece. It is not a black belt. This is a white belt. This is the one. Kings can move one space in every direction.
Every direction, right?
That's a white belt. You only have so many options, and you have no options off of those. That's a king, and it has to be protected because it's the future. Or in this case, it's the whole game. I think these are blue belts.
Pawn.
No. Rook, bishop.
Oh.
Now, in point value, the king is worth 1 point. I've never actually played a game of chess for points. I don't really know how it happens. Like, I guess the whole game is on a timer, and if no one wins within the timer, whoever scored the most points wins. 1 point, 5 points, 3 points. The rook can move in lateral patterns as many spaces as you want it to.
Right.
Bishop moves in diagonal on the color it starts on. I think these are blue belts because they have range, but they're in a 1-track mind, or maybe a 2-track mind. That's it. There's nothing versatile about that. Actually, take it back. These are purple belts because they've got the range. Pawns are blue belts because they have that attack, attack, attack mentality. You can't defend with a pawn. You can you can shield with a pawn, but you can't really defend.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, they're sacrificial, and there's so many of them, and they disappear like crazy. So pawns in my people
Good
always,
analogy.
so people always have pawn as the white belt, knight is the blue belt, they have rook as the brown belt, and then they have the queen. Or sorry, the rook is purple. They leave out the bishop, or they'll have the bishop instead of the knight, and then they have the queen as the brown belt. Queen is the black belt. Queen's the most powerful piece.
Right.
It can move any direction, as many spaces as you want.
Exactly.
It's also worth 9 points. Knight, I think, is the brown belt because knight can move in an L pattern. It can jump other pieces, and it's easier to set up strategies with. Other people, I've actually gotten into arguments on Facebook about this. People are like, "Oh, you can't win with just knights, though. You can win with just bishops." I was like, "Still a better piece. It's only 3 points, but in my mind,
if you see the sometimes.
If you see the you don't. It's easier to set up. Like you can set up a 3-way fork with a knight. If someone hits you with a 3-way fork with a bishop, you really fucked up.
Yeah.
Knights are sneaky though because you can have all these other pieces around them, and then they're in the middle all of a sudden with 4 options. So it always bothers me when I see jiu-jitsu shirts about chess pieces. Like, first of all, these people probably don't know how to play chess. Second of all, they have the wrong value, like the wrong pieces associated with the wrong belts.
You know
Where's
what I
the
don't
board
remember
for that?
that's frustrating is
I didn't bring a board by his board.
I have a glass
I was
board
just-
we used to use. Is the problem today is I can remember roughly how all the pieces move, but I don't remember us. I used to have strategies.
Like a
Like
solid
I would
strategy.
try to.
Dude, he stayed up for like 4 hours for like the first week every night trying to figure out how to beat me, and then he just went to playing.
I was so happy when I could give him a game. I was like, holy shit, fuck, I can hang with this dude, man. I was so happy. I felt like I graduated to like purple belt. I felt like I'm a solid jiu-jitsu purple belt.
I had a really good. I beat it. I did the 4-move win on him one time. Once you do it once, it's a little bit harder to do it a second time. But that's the fastest you can win a game. Is I think
Yeah,
4.
that's how you make someone quit. By the way, like just for the record, that's how you make someone quit chess for life, right?
And then I used that setup. I don't remember it anymore. I'd have to look it up. I used that initial setup to set up the start of every game, and it worked for 25 out of 26 games.
Very frustrating, but I formulated a defense eventually.
Those were good times. We just put on some like electronic music that was like real slow, not like techno EDM, but just relaxing and no words. And we'd either have a conversation or we'd play quietly.
Every class would just after class we'd go over there and play. Those were good
We'd go
times.
eat first. We'd always go eat. We'd come back. Chin would go to bed or do something with the leggings on the computer, and we would sit and play at least one game.
Yeah.
If we had a quick game, we'd do 2 or 3, but the longer we played, the longer the game started to take. So we'd get one in.
I'm gonna bring that back. I am gonna bring it back.
Actually, we started playing before I lived here. We started playing when I just started coming, and I only started coming here because I don't even remember when you invited me the first time. I know it was my senior year, and it was the beginning of my senior year.
I want to
So
say
it was
you were
2014.
going to college, I think.
I was. It was 2014 because it was the first half of my senior year, but I don't remember how you initially invited me. I feel like you might have just said it on the group page or something like, "Hey, anyone from Luiz's is welcome to come to my gym and train for free." And I was like,
"Fuck it, I'm on that
like,
side of
and
town."
it's at 7, right?
Yeah.
And I'm at UNF, and there's no way I can make it to Luiz's on the nights I have my internship class. Hell yeah! And so 2 nights a week and that entire semester I was here, and then I would still come like once a week the second semester, and then I started living here. Like literally the day I moved out of the dorms, I moved in here.
Yeah, I live like 5-10 minutes away. I have like no fucking excuse to not come here.
Who was the kind of the best guys I had training with me at that time? I don't remember. Is there anyone else other than Colin kind of pushing it? I don't think Ray was training.
Jeff came.
consistently.
Jeff was here for a little while.
Jeff.
Mount.
Oh yeah, Jeff had a good game, man.
Mhm.
Jeff had a real good game.
Jeff bounced around a little bit. We're still Facebook friends. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys are, but
Yeah.
Jeff's a good dude.
Yeah, we are.
And he had fun jiu-jitsu. It's rare to see someone who's an arm triangle specialist, but man, was his tight.
What I thought he had the best, what Jeff I thought was really good at, was chokes from mount. The dude he had a wicked choke setup from mount.
He
It
did
was
have a good
really
cross collar
good.
from mount,
Yep,
and he would
his
set up
cross
his
collar
arm
from mount.
triangle from mount too.
Yeah, that was his, and I thought it was ironic because his name was Jeff Mount, and
Yeah.
that's where he was lethal from, was from Mount.
He was a leech on mount.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, Jeff was good people. He moved from Baltimore. They were only in Florida for like a year. He ended up training here for probably 6 months, and then he trained at BTT for the other 6 months.
Yeah.
And
He wrote me and said I was easily 10 times a better instructor, by the way, over there. Just joking.
Little pat on the
Just
back.
joking.
Pat on the back.
He didn't say 10.
It was 20. No, and I think Jeff knew he was going to be leaving, so he wanted to hit some other schools because they did move back to Baltimore by at the end of the year.
We stay in touch. We communicate. He's good people.
Mm-hmm. But I ended up I cross trained here and there, and obviously Luiz's is my home school. Like we were saying earlier, cross training is super beneficial. So I don't think you should do it when you're super early. I don't think you should really cross train until you're like approaching purple, unless you plan on moving. Because it's hard to get promoted. If you're going to try to bounce around, people are like, well, you need to tell me who you're going to be promoted by, especially if you're going lots of places. I only cross trained with you for the longest time. I would go to Fighting Chance in St. Augustine because Todd had a connection with them, and we'd go down there for their competition training, but nothing more than that. And now I go to Brazilian Top Team because my best friend from the police academy, he goes there, and I've got basically an open invite for their open mats. And they're like, hey, yeah, come out anytime. So I've been there enough that some of them think I'm on their team. Like in Orlando, I drove with my best friend, and one of their teammates was like, "Oh, at least Stuart will bring home a gold medal for the team." And my friend goes, "Stuart's not on our team." I was like, "Anna didn't get a gold medal, so it didn't matter." I was like, "Yeah, if you hear anyone say that, squash that because it's not true."
I welcome
that was my
everyone.
biggest fear, was that people would be like, "Oh yeah, he trains at BTT." I was like, part time. It's not my school.
Right.
It's not my team.
Yeah, I welcome anyone on my mats. I don't care who you train with. Like, I don't care who you train with. I don't care who your teacher is. Everyone's welcome to drop in. Everybody, and I think that's how it should be. That's how jiu-jitsu should be. The goal should be. It's sad that we have that. There's this, you belong to me, and you can't learn from him. It is sad. I mean, at the same time though, it'd be more okay if. If you're the owner of a school, or if you're an instructor and you've brought someone so far along, and then they start crediting someone else with where they're at, like that's the frustrating part too. And I don't think you understand that until you're a school owner. Is that, or you have students under you or people you've taught. It's there should be a degree of loyalty, that should exist. And if you have your own school, then you start to see that side of it more. You start to but at the same time, you can do that, and you can, as long as that person understands that.
There's a difference between loyalty and the instructor feeling like they're owed something. I don't want to slight them, but my old school before I came to Luiz's in Daytona, they're kind of culty a little bit. They have good jiu-jitsu, and they were a room full of young guys. And when they first took over, I was getting slaughtered by all the blue belts, and I was still a white belt. And then within 3 months, I was beating all of them because my game skyrocketed. So it's not that they're bad teachers, but it's always this is my black belt, and it's that emphasis, this is mine. No, yeah, you promoted him, but he's not yours. He can leave. I've never liked that. I've seen it in multiple schools. Oh, this is my black belt. Did this for me. Is my guy. I'm You're very possessive for an adult male of another adult male. So there was something that Chris Howder said on a video on YouTube once where he promoted. It was a Danish guy who was living.
Yeah, and he said it's your black belt. You earned it. It's yours.
So you've seen that video too. And this dude living. He said it was a 2-minute speech that he gave, and it was really cool. And Chris Howder's big on philosophy and stuff from all the videos I've watched. And it was like you just said, and he's like, "This isn't my black belt. I'm giving it to you, but it's your black belt. It represents you and your jiu-jitsu. It doesn't represent me. So you go make your jiu-jitsu." And that was it. And I was like, that's how it should be. That dude's not even from the same country.
Right.
So he's training in other places.
Mm-hmm.
And I've made great friends at Brazilian Top Team, but Luiz's is my family. I have John and Hani. They're the way that they've been in my life the last 5 years, they're like big brothers. Hani got me a job. John's
I'm a close cousin though.
Yeah,
I'm definitely in there.
All the conspiracy
I'm
theories
extended
keep
family.
I'm
Cousin movie.
Oh my gosh.
No, I've crashed at Hani's house. I've watched his kids. He got me a job. I worked for him. Stuff like that.
I said that last week. how cool that the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu family, right?
Oh yeah.
My daughter, Kilani, we went to a competition. She rode on my motorcycle. On the way there, like a ding dong, she put her legs down and burned both of the back of her thighs on the muffler, and
Calves.
Calves. Sorry, did I say thighs?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's pretty high up.
So she burned the back of her calves on the motorcycle, and that night she came in to do the kids movie night, and one of the family members brought her Craig,
My dad.
her daddy. He's a nurse, right? He
Yeah.
brought in like all this medical stuff and bandaged her up.
Right
and
after
another,
work.
Another guy, Brent, his wife, is a nurse practitioner, and got her some cream, through her, through a prescription.
Expertise.
So it's like, wow, this is a close group of people, right? Just taking care of each other, and that's so that's a bonus.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I'm here to train, right? But what draws me to it, and what is the people I'm training with.
Yeah,
That's why I keep coming back. No, seriously, no.
Not you.
No, probably not.
But
Probably not.
She's
We're like
best
family.
friends with my daughter, and
Yeah.
I take her out sometimes and whatever, and I already feel like I told her the other couple months ago, I was like, dude, I already feel like your family. Like, don't worry about it. Oh, thank you for taking it. Don't worry about it. Don't even think twice about it. Your family.
That leads to another thing I've read. Like, oh, your coach shouldn't be your friend. They're just your coach. Like, then you've got a terrible relationship.
Right.
No, because I
Like-
feel like my coach is family.
Like, the only place I can think of that would be like professional sports. Like, Pedro's my friend, Luiz is my friend, Bobby's my friend. Everyone who's ever
I
coached
feel
me.
that.
My old high school
Yeah.
coach is, as I become an adult, obviously it was teacher minor relationship, but now that I'm an adult, he's a friend. I feel like if you're not in a school like that, and you should reevaluate where you are, because then if you've got that issue with like you can't even bond with your instructor, I feel like it's got to affect how you bond with your teammates.
Yeah, that's one of the really interesting things about training is so many people quit because they try one school and they don't realize how different one school can be from another.
Yeah. Just yours from Luiz's is insanely different.
Yeah, and or mine from anyone's, not and they're probably all that different, right? But there are people that would thrive in my school that would quit instantly in another school, right? So if you're going to do jiu-jitsu, one thing I recommend is if you're once you give a certain amount of time, you're gonna hurt feelings if you leave when you give it. But it's okay when you're testing schools. You can go there and say, hey, I just want to see if I fit in here. I want to see if it's all right if I try it out. No one has a problem with that. Try it out. But if you give some guys 6 months or a year or 2 years or more, and then you're
5.
like, yeah, I want to go somewhere else now. It's like, man, I taught you my secrets, man. I shared,
Yeah.
It's like you kind of feel like.
That's where the my jiu-jitsu, their jiu-jitsu mentality starts to come in.
Yeah. But it's hard to understand. I see both sides. I do see it. It's like one of the things you see a lot as an instructor is you'll see a guy leave because some really hot instructor showed up, right? It's like, this dude, 20-time world champion. He's like 5 miles down the road, and then they're jumping ship, right? And I'm just like,
Just cross-train. You don't have to leave your school.
Well, even with that, like, just because you train with Marcelo Garcia doesn't mean you're going to be a world champion. He's got guys there that are trained with him that
probably just average,
right? But at the same time, you've got guys who've come out of unheard of schools that are phenomenal, right?
It's destroyed me.
It's how are you learning from your instructor? Are the dynamics there in your jiu-jitsu can you feel it growing at and I think at one point in time you owe it. I don't want to say you owe it. That can be wrong too. But you should be a contributor in your school. You should. If you think there's outside knowledge, it's freely bring it to your family, right? I do think there should be a family. I think you should focus on your family. I think it's fine to mix it up with other people. I think that's fine, right? Like Jason used to ask me, hey man, you might. I'm like, bro, I don't care. Go train wherever you want, as long as it's not going to hurt my feelings until we're not your home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would hurt my feelings. if some other place kind of became your jiu-jitsu home, yeah, it stings. It's happened with me with lots of good students that someone else became their jiu-jitsu home. That stings. I don't care. Try having a school and let that happen. It's like, man, it's kind of like saying your jiu-jitsu is not good enough, right? It's like saying that's a slap in the face.
I feel like sometimes, and I know people from out of state and that like I know on Facebook that it hasn't been. It's almost never the quality of instructor. It's the quality of partners, especially for like brand new schools. Like Todd's been lucky because, like I said, with how he is, people buy in like that. So he's got a group of. It's hard to find dedicated white belts. He's got people that show up 5 days a week, every week. So he's got a line of blue belts already that started as white belts with him, and he does not promote fast. I think just to get a stripe, you have to have 50 hours. That's 50 classes just to get one stripe, and there's no exceptions either. So it's that's your minimum, and it might take longer than that. And he's still got this whole line of white belts, and they're all together busting out their push-ups and conditioning every day because they bought in.
Yeah.
I don't think and so they're all at the same level. So no one there, and plus they've got him. So no one there is expecting to have a brown belt training partner because there aren't any brown belts there. But if you've got someone who comes in that is a brown belt and they're like, well, yeah, the instructor's great, but he's got to roll with 40 other students and I don't have any student to push me, that's when they're going to start shopping.
Right.
Which, like I said, Todd didn't have that problem because everyone's the same level. And I think that's the benefit of having a new school with new students. But if you have a new student come from out of town who's already got rank, that's when they're like, they'll try it out and like, this isn't for me. Bye. And they might hang out for a while. Like you said, 6 months, or you start pushing the time limit where it becomes, hey, you're kind of part of the family now. So I think it all depends on a situation like that. I think it's the training partners, never the instructor, because I
think it's a
there's so
school
many different
too.
styles of instructor too, and I haven't come across one that I don't like yet. Maybe a little bit, but
Schools definitely do play a factor. I mean, I just because I live 5 minutes away doesn't mean that's not my choice. Like I love coming here. I was talking to another guy in our class the other night. He's about the same age as me, and he said, you know what, like if it wasn't for Coach Bobby and the way this class, he said if we had to do conditioning, and the only reason to bring it up because you said there's mandatory conditioning. Well, Coach Bobby,
it's voluntary.
Oh, it's voluntary. Well, here we're not wasting 20 minutes doing push-ups, sit-ups, stuff we could be doing on our own, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going straight into technique, some stretching, whatnot. But he was telling me, he said, man, at my age, and he's been doing it for years, and he's beat up, or feels so sore all the time. He's like, if I had to do all that conditioning shit, I would have gave up. I'd just be done. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think jiu-jitsu should be for everyone. It should be for the 65-year-old lady. It should be for her too. That's
they're out
really
there.
who it should
And
be
they're
for.
out there.
It should be for the 55-year-old man. It should be for the 65-year-old man.
Got one
and
of those.
And that's how I structured my school. But I wanted to build it where at the same time, some highly competitive guy who wants to compete in EBI can thrive too. Like that's how I tried to create my environment. So I'm like, if you want to compete at the highest level, you have to be an athlete. You need to be an athlete. But you can achieve athleticism through straight rolling. Like if you roll like a minimum of an hour, we got Jason's in here sometimes 3 times a day.
And he was all pissy the other day because he was going to miss his 3-a-day day.
Yeah.
He slept and he set the alarm for
He's like, I
6
gotta train at
p.m.
12.
versus 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And he missed the class and he was beating himself up.
He'll be here at 6 a.m. for 2 hours. Then he'll be here at noon for 2 hours. Then he'll be at the night class. Then that guy put in sometimes 7-8 hours a day.
I wish I could do that.
I expect he'll be a different role for me next time.
Yeah, he learns.
And then
He's
he
like a
goes when he
sponge,
goes
yeah.
overseas, he'll try and find places to go roll at
Absolutely.
too.
And brings it back here.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I like. You know,
That's-
it's
That's
Yeah, I
another
like
great
that
part about
too.
traveling. Like my
bring some stuff back home.
Mm-hmm.
the best, like I said, that defense that I showed when I taught, I picked that up from another school. That is not a Luiz Palhares Association move. Really, I mean, someone else might have taught it, but that's not where I learned it. I always try to credit people who have taught me stuff. Like, oh, I figured this out on my own. I picked this up from so and so. I picked this up from this place, and I love sharing it.
You know, another interesting thing about jiu-jitsu is we definitely develop our own jiu-jitsu. Like we develop unique things about our jiu-jitsu, and some people are really good about recognizing the things they develop. Like they can just look back and go, oh shit, I can do this. They realize it, right? I don't analyze my own game, and I know if I were to analyze it and go back and look, like I can't see it just looking into my mind's eye or whatever you want to call it, into my memory. I can't look back and see it, but I know I have all these unique things that I do. But I think some people actually go out there and study their own games, right? And like they don't even realize they did something, and then they look at it and they're like, oh shit, I did that. I'm going to start teaching that. Let me
video every match I've ever had in jiu-jitsu, at least.
Yeah.
Lost some of them, but lost some of the videos, but it's great.
You can learn a lot from yourself. A lot of people don't realize that. You can learn a lot from watching yourself.
Also, man, I think I had that's another place where I plateaued, was at purple belt. When I taught, my technique went through the roof. Not that I learned anything new from I mean, I did learn new stuff from you, but when I was teaching, I felt like I was learning more in that 4-month period from myself than I was from Pedro, Luiz, or Bobby. Because you're catching details when you're teaching. You're like, man, I forget this when I'm doing it, and I see people struggling. Like, oh, that's why you're struggling, because I didn't tell you to do it right. Mm-hmm. So, and that's another thing that was completely new when I first started coming here. Was your class structure is different. No warm up, no stretch. You just basically show up early and do it on your own, and then it's an hour of technique. And I was like,
we get 12 techniques a night.
We do like 20 minutes. Because we'll knock out a really quick warm up, and we don't really stretch. We do like basically hips and legs, which sucks because I have tight shoulders, so I always have to do my shoulders on my own.
And do shoulders at work. And
wrists. Everyone needs to stretch their wrists. There's going to be a world of hurt.
My wrist just started hurting when I looked you in the eyes. I don't know what you got going on over here.
Another cramp. But yeah, that was new to me. And then rolling without a timer, I think people should do that at least once a week, because it completely changes
the dynamic of the roll.
Yeah,
all of a sudden
there's so much less explosion.
Yeah,
because if you explode, you don't have a timer to save you, and you can't try to explode out of a submission either, because if you get stuck in it when your explosions work, then you're done. So you have to really finesse your way out.
We have matches that go sometimes 40 minutes. Like, it's not uncommon. It's just not.
I think that was the longest you and I ever went. And that was before I'll say evolution. That was when I was still pretty rough and tumble. And the crazy thing is, I was better then than when I was a blue belt. Because when I was a blue belt, I was still hot in wrestling and was definitely wrestler-style jiu-jitsu. Which is funny, because that part of jiu-jitsu made my wrestling better. I never gassed out for 2 years, my final 2 years of college. You could even see the difference in my videos of like how tight I was. I'd be clenched with someone and my other arm is loose, dangling. It's conserving energy. Never got tired. It was awesome. And then in jiu-jitsu, I had great jiu-jitsu cardio. It was still that tenseness from wrestling, and it's taken so long to unlearn that. I can still wrestle. I haven't wrestled with anyone in a while, but you do lose timing. Just like you do in jiu-jitsu if you're out for a while. But I have no doubt I could still mix it up with people. It's fun. I miss it. Jiu-jitsu is a great relief from that.
Yeah, the only reason I don't compete more is takedowns, right? Like, one of the frustrating things for me, and I understand, I do. Like I'll always, you'll hear Luis or Pedro say, like, what is it? Something in regards to takedowns, like, right? Like, pulling guard's gay or whatever, right? Like, essentially,
pull a guard, God kills a kitten.
Something like that, But it kind of like, I have no choice, and like that's why I don't want to compete more. Like, a lot of people don't understand. It's like I go out there and I kind of feel like I'm letting everyone down, or like people, like, this is a representation of my jiu-jitsu. I sit down and for me, I'm happy that I can still roll. Like that's an accomplishment for me. The fact that I can still roll, but I can't do takedowns, and I hate that. I hate that I got to go into a competition, and this guy's wanting to have that fight with me, and he's expecting that fight from me. He's expecting me to represent my jiu-jitsu at that level, right? And I can't represent jiu-jitsu on that level. I can't. I have to. we're forced to start from standing, and in a real fight, man, I have to. There's no choice. I have to run that risk, but it is what it is, and with my back the way it is, and I don't want to. I know it's comes up a lot, but that's honestly why I don't compete more, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that you still got your black belt, even after your injury, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people would have quit by then, but you didn't. So
well. It would come and go though. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like there were times when, and I did compete more when my back was healthier. Like when my back was, and I would,
You competed all the way to brown belt.
Yeah, I competed at black belt.
I
compete this year.
I
did it.
That's right. We were the same one.
Yeah. When my back feels good, I do compete, right? Like, but here's where I have the problem: is signing up for something in advance.
Not knowing how you'll feel.
Not knowing how I'll feel. That's the problem, right? Like if competitions were just drop in and I'd do it. But like let's say Brian Brown, shout out to Brian. I've seen his write-up saying, I can't stand it when someone, obligates and tells me they're going to be here and they don't show up. And I'm like, well, that's me, bro. If I tell them I'm going to make it and then my back goes out.
I feel like as long as that you've got that disclaimer when you accept it, then, I mean, it'll be okay. And I know he's had it happen a couple times. Including with one of my opponents, and I've had a relationship with him since we actually competed in Good Fight in 2015 when you heel hooked Bill.
My back was out for that fight. My back was totally out when I fought Bill.
And then Bill go for heel hooks. Bobby's defending it and Bill's not, and Bill waits till it pops before he taps.
But I don't know if you know who I was supposed to fight that day.
Who?
Marcelo Burgo.
Really?
Yeah. I'll probably get some flack for this, but that's who I was told I was going to fight. Like basically the night before I went in there and they're like, hey man, would you like to do a super fight? And I'm like, yeah, with who? And they're like, Marcelo Burgo. I'm like, okay. They're like, yeah, he said he's down to fight. So I showed up the next day fully expecting to fight Marcelo. Right, and I wanted to see what I was capable of. I wanted to test myself. Right, everyone does. To get the opportunity to roll with something like that's huge.
He's a freak of nature.
Right, but I don't know what happened. I'm sure something came up. But Bill stepped up. Bill went and asked the guy if he could fight, and my back was out. Man, if you saw the way I was hobbling around, I was trying to stand. And we got to the ground
the whole day pretty much.
Yeah.
No, so I met Brian there. And he said he had only had worn a gi for 2 weeks before that. So he's a 10th Planet guy. It took me longer to beat him in gi by more than double the time. He was tough. He got out of 5 submissions in a row. And then we've never faced again. We've never trained together since then. But we've known each other because of that. And I think he used to drop in and out of BTT as well. And so when he actually got me in my first cash tournament in brown belt, it was Zapatero 14 in Tampa, and he was like, "Hey, you want to do a tournament for $800 in 4 weeks?" I was like, "Sure." So he's like, "It's $100 buy-in, 8-man bracket." I was like, "Sweet." So I dropped 100, drove all the way out there. Man, I felt so bad for the promoter, Josh LeDuc. He's a cool guy, very anti-IBJJF though, and very pro no gi. He had 4 people drop out the day of. 4. So it was I think he had a blue belt bracket, a purple belt bracket. It was supposed to be a brown belt heavyweights bracket. Well, he couldn't get enough heavyweights, so he just made it a brown belt bracket. Then he couldn't get enough brown belts, so he just made it a brown and black belt bracket. Then my first opponent had to pull out because when he walked in the door, both of his nostrils just exploded with blood, and he had to go have his nose cauterized. So the guy who came with him stepped up. And I beat that guy. Then the second guy that I was supposed to face, or who would have been my second guy, he was replaced. Have you ever heard the name of Josh Hayden?
Yeah.
His little brother, Jason. Super nice guy. Also super tiny. He's your size. And
I'm tiny now.
You're tiny.
Yes. He's a featherweight, so 145. He's actually done, he did one of the combat jiu-jitsus.
Oh, really?
There's a great picture of it. Just looking at the picture makes my knee hurt because the dude's heel is pointed at the ceiling.
Oh.
And it's an inside heel hook, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
No.
But we actually had a fun match. That's how I proved how easy it is to stop an Inominari roll because he went for one, and I just sprawled. And then he also tried a flying guard jump, and I just went And he goes straight down.
Get off me, bitch.
At one point I beat him in overtime, EBI overtime, but towards the end of the match, he had like sunk the heel hook, but he was so small I could wrap his entire body and hold him from turning. So he took his free hand, looked up, reached back, and tickled my other foot. And I was like, I will bite you. He goes, don't bite me. And then we went to the overtime, and he was just wearing shorts and no shirt, and I was like, it's like a really slimy, sweaty leech on your back. And obviously I shook him off, and I ended up beating him because I didn't know you can pick armbar as a position. And Brian was actually the one coaching me at that tournament. When I went there with my dad, he's like, "You gonna know anyone here?" I was like, "Yeah, we're in Tampa. I'm not gonna know anyone. I've never been to Tampa except to go to Busch Gardens." I walk in the door, and I was like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Hey, why are you here?" He's like, "Oh, my Steven Kozlow was in it too." And I was like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Do you want me to coach you as much as you can?" I mean, it's easy to have a coach when you recognize the voice. It's like it's easy for me to hear Pedro and Luis. Really easy, because Luis throws in his curse words. Stuart. But I had Brian there coach me, and I got to the overtime, and first time all I heard was I heard back, and I knew you could pick if you wanted to start with them on your back first and then go second, or vice versa. So I was like, I'll take his back. He gets out, then I get out, and then I hear him say back or arm. I looked at Brian and went, arm? He goes, arm. Like, arm. Started on an arm bar. I was like, ha ha. Clunk. Chopped his arm down and took it. It's like, good choice. You know me. And then my finals opponent was a replacement opponent too.
Black
belt. Black belt. Quentin Rosenweig. He's super good. And he got like a 15-second submission that day. I lasted longest, and I lasted 50 seconds.
Good job.
Yeah. Nice.
He was supposed to be the main event super fight. Yeah. His opponent got injured like the day before with a rib injury and pulled out. So he dropped down, and like there's a wreck the other side of the bracket. And then before we fought, I didn't know how good he was at the time. He was like, "Hey," he even said, he's like, "If I win, I'm going to give you part of the prize money because I shouldn't even be in this bracket." Right. And I was like, that's a little kind of arrogant sounding. And then he just crushed me. And he's actually a super nice guy. And he just destroyed me. And then he gave me like $200 the prize money.
Oh.
And I was like, I made back my money and then some. And it was my dad who drove me down there, so I didn't even use my gas. But Brian got me into that. And then Brian did his first. He's done a bunch of like little like 10th Planet Atlantic Beach tournament and the 10th Planet Orange Park tournament, and then he opened the Jacksonville location.
Right, Friday Night Finishers and.
That's new.
Right.
But back in
shout out to Nikki.
Oh, thanks.
I think it was after. It's like before I left Tampa for Sapatero. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do something like this. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he did a brown belt absolute. He didn't even bother trying to find a weight class. So
right.
I fought like 3 people. No, one guy was like 170, and one guy was my size, and then one guy was 140. Super tiny. And I won that one. First time I won a cash prize since I was a blue belt. So that felt really good. And I was sick the day before. Like I had a fever, didn't get out of bed, didn't train. And then my opponent that pulled out of my super fight was supposed to be in that too. And he had a last minute replacement for that guy. But that was a good tournament. That was a fun one. Was that the one you were at, or were you at 30? You were at that one. It wasn't the 32-man one, because the 32-man one, that was all it was. You were at that one with your super fight. And the first dude, it goes to show, at least with that style, how much they rely on their guard for leg locks. It took me 8 minutes to pass the first guy's guard, and then within 30 seconds I tapped him. Just took that long to get around his guard.
Yep.
Wow. The best, so my favorite part wasn't the money though. It was the second match, the dude my size. We got down to the final 20 seconds. I'm exhausted. I've already failed on like 4 submissions. Had him on my back, on mount, and like stomach. Along came Polly on my face. And then he was turtled up, and I had like his head and arm. I was just laying on him, and you can hear on the video that Jose took, his team go, "He's just laying there. He's not even attacking." And I was like, "Fuck you." Dipped him under, shot my arm through for the Darce. And you can hear his corner go, "Respect the Darce!" Backs down, then comes back up to his side. When he did, I went, and you can hear Luis go, keep for like 20 seconds. I'm like, "Shut up, I know!" And then he tapped, and I freaked out. And the dude in the final, I tapped him too. That wasn't as big of a freak out. I should have gotten up and just gone, money! I love it when Luiz gets excited. Keep.
Oh my gosh.
I have a decent Luiz coaching impersonation. Vai, pô, sure. Puta que pariu, caralho. That's fucking son of a bitch in Portuguese. He said that to me before too.
Nice.
I used to think he was saying porra when I won matches. Like, why are you mad? He was actually saying boa. They just sound really similar.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Yeah, good times. Going back to the jiu-jitsu community, and I was thinking about this. What I was gonna say is, you don't see, you see it more when you travel, right?
Right.
So like, having gotten to travel to Europe and give some seminars out there, there was always someone offering their home up, right? Like,
Dang.
I had a place to stay everywhere I went. It was so cool.
I don't know if it would be the same here. That might be a cultural, like a country cultural thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Depends
But in
on-
Europe, they were definitely more. But Europe's so far behind too. Like Europe is, in general, they're behind. You know, they don't have 25 schools in a city. They've got 1 or 2. You know, and there's still cities without schools. You know.
What part of Europe did you go to?
Man, all over. It's still growing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's growing now. But you know, I remember in 2012 when I was researching Berlin. I think there were like 2 schools at the time in Berlin. It's one of the largest, probably the largest city in Germany.
Is that where Amir was?
Amir's in Kaiserslautern in K-Town, and there's
That's a fun
I know,
place to
yeah.
say Kaiserslautern.
Yeah, there's. I think there's one. They just had like a club on the base, but now they have a dedicated school outside of the base. So,
Nice.
I think there's still a lot of opportunity in Europe, like a lot more opportunity. Look at Jacksonville, right? I at one time, I don't know about today, but at one time counted 25 jiu-jitsu schools.
Let's see how many I can think of off the top of my head. Yours, Louise's, BTT. I guess we'll count Ludus.
Bill Ferre's, Gracie Baja. That's 2 more.
Gracie Baja. What's that? Oh,
Bill.
Jiu-Jitsu
Apreciado
Bill.
Bill.
Down. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. I was about to count him. Jack's Beach, Larry Sheely.
Ground
10th
Game
Planet,
or whatever.
Dean Grant.
Down the road from Luis.
Smiley. Paulo's place.
Paulo's place.
Yeah, that one.
Down the road from Luis also,
That's the one I was thinking of. Isn't Paulo down the road from Luis?
yeah, but there's another one
Knuckle
in
Up.
between.
Knuckle Up. That's 12.
Yeah. Tiger's Eye.
Tiger's Eye.
Smiley. Did you count
I did.
Smiley
I did
already?
count Smiley.
There's a Gracie school here, a Gracie affiliate. There's a Gracie.
Where?
Yeah, there's
Where?
a Gracie.
That makes 4 or 14. Sorry.
Yeah, there's actually a whatever you call that.
If you want to count the police academy, that's another one. They do classes twice a week. That's an affiliate. They're technically a Louise affiliate.
Oh, what about Juan Perez?
16.
What about that guy that fought in Pride? Black guy. I can't remember the name of his school, but he's like on the north side or something. He used to come to the tournaments. He's kind of a loud.
Choke him.
Can't remember.
That's I remember the school. Yeah.
But he fought. He like didn't show up for a Pride fight. He fought in Pride and then kind of like missed a fight or
Yeah,
something.
the team they always send up under is Choke 'em. Yeah, I know that.
So that guy, right?
That's 16 or 17,
17.
right there. 17.
I don't know if you still have. Crap, hold on. But if you sit down and write, there's more. There's still more. Believe it or not.
Victor Hubert. That's 18.
Yeah, and there's still more.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're definitely. I guarantee it. You'll come up with at least 20. Because we're not counting. You know, obviously St. Augustine. We're not counting Fernandina.
So you take out. There's a Gracie Bott in Fernandina. There's Phil Cardella in.
What about in
St.
Georgia?
Augustine.
Camden.
Yeah, you're not
That's
counting
Georgia.
Chris.
Oh.
But
Jacksonville. I wonder if there's any downtown. That's 18 right there. It's so saturated. So when Vinicio came up from Brazil and was asking Luis about opening a school in Jacksonville, I don't know what Luis told him, but if he had asked me, I'd be like, dude, find another city.
Yeah.
We're so saturated.
yeah, and look at like Chris has one. Chris was the first school to open up in Camden.
He
And
monopoly.
he is killing it. He's killing it. You know.
Still is.
Yeah, still is. So man, if you can go to a place, and honestly, like I'll say this, and someone's going to go out there, but I want to say it's called Eagle Harbor or something like that. There's a corner of Jacksonville, or the outskirts of Jacksonville, where all this money is.
There's
And
Queens Harbor off
not
the beach.
Queens
and
Harbor,
there's
no, I
Eagle
think it's
Harbor
Queens.
that's in Clay.
Yeah, I think it's Eagle Harbor, but there's no school out there, and there's nothing but neighborhoods, like wealthy neighborhoods, as far as you can see. And I think that place is like the place to murder it in
It's off of
Jacksonville
Park. If you take 17 down, it's off of
Yep,
that.
yep, that's
I
it.
remember because he used to pass it on the way to Sway's house. That's ridiculous. And we're so spread out. You'd think there would be more, but you got like New York. New York's so smaller, but it's so many people. Like you've got just in New York City, you've got the Meows, Marcelo Garcia, and JT Torres. Those are 3 big schools right there, or 3 big name schools.
Where's Henzo at?
He's in New York, right?
Henzo's
Brooklyn.
in New York too. Yeah,
Yep.
that's 4.
And
I'm sure there's others. They're just not as well known that are there. There's probably an
I
affiliate
saw
of
another
every
one last
Gracie
night.
there.
I can't remember.
There's probably an affiliate of every Gracie.
Probably.
Is there a Hoist affiliate in Jacksonville?
Not anymore. No.
I'm trying to think. I know I saw someone recently who was Hoist that was local. I just don't remember who. No, it wasn't local. I'm thinking of the guys from Bradenton. They're a Hoist lineage. It was Rob Cohen. You knew Rob Cohen, didn't you?
Yeah, I've trained with Rob. I got to use one of the moves he taught me last night. Now there's a school called Jiu-Jitsu, just Jiu-Jitsu. That's it.
There's some little, like, if you look when you're driving, sometimes you'll see these little tiny little corners or crevices of, all these in a chain of stores, and you'll see, like, maybe jiu-jitsu or something.
That's what ours is.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Small
talking,
little shop,
yeah.
like a shopping center.
We
Yeah.
used to have like half the mat space we have now.
I think I remember passing by there one time.
It's behind
after
Outback.
school. Yeah.
When I first moved here.
Oh, there's a
2005.
Brigadero. There's a Brigadero.
Oh, I forgot about
who's
the
a
American
jiu-jitsu.
Top Team. Yep, it's off of Emerson, I think.
Yeah. You also got Jack's Muay Thai, which claims to have a jiu-jitsu. You got Dead Game Fight School, which has a current website which claims to teach jiu-jitsu.
But you could go learn from someone with an S to Bellator black belt. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but Bobby knows what I'm talking about.
Cool. I think we're at 3:16. We put down 3 hours.
Just have any more questions?
Anything else we want to close with?
When you coming back?
Brendan's like, please come back.
You got to get him to obligate. He's good. If you get him to obligate, he'll stick to
his
it.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike Colin Taylor.
Oh,
He's throwing shade.
dang.
Colin hates teaching, that's why.
Feel the
Let
burn
me check
from
my
the sun.
calendar.
I think he already said that, though. He likes being a student or something.
Yeah,
'Cause-
he's never liked teaching.
No, and then he hurt my feelings. He's like, I don't even like rolling with white belts because y'all don't got shit for me. It's basically what he said.
That
Yeah.
sounds 100% like Colin. I can do the 19th. Unless something comes up, I'm good for the 19th.
Boom.
We got it locked in, man. We got you down
That's
for the
what's up.
19th.
Yeah. And there's some more Anaconda and Darce.
I'm gonna see if I
Bobby
can
wants
get.
more takedowns this time, not just a snap down.
Yeah. I want like your favorite takedown, like legit takedown, like what you want to get someone on the ground and what you're hunting for. That's what I want. That's what I want to go over, right?
Yeah. We also talked about, like, if I'm going to teach takedowns, then they're not going to be for jiu-jitsu. It's going to be wrestling style for wrestling, and then you have to adapt it on your own. It's too hard to teach wrestling takedowns for jiu-jitsu because I'm going to teach it wrong. You need to learn the fundamental way to do it, just like you don't want to learn an inverted berimbolo triangle before you learn a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you need to, and same thing, you ride with training wheels usually before you ride a regular bike.
Okay.
So same thing. You need to learn the fundamental way first before you learn the adapted way.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I teach you a double leg and you're worried about getting choked, your head's never going to be in the right place. It needs to be out to the side where you'll get guillotined. But it's going to teach you how the rest of your body needs to be, and then you can adapt where you put your head or how you tuck your chin or how you turn it. So,
Are there I never watch wrestling. I got to be honest. I don't have an interest in it. Are there submissions in wrestling?
Mm-mm. No, just points and pins.
Yeah.
The NCAAs have gotten better and better over the last couple of years since Penn State became the powerhouse it is now. Year before last, they had 5 national champions out of 10. There's 10 weight classes. They had 5, and they're all in a row in weight class. They're 149, they're 157, they're 165, they're 174, and they're 184, all won. And then this year, 4 of them won and 1 of them lost. And 4 of them are coming back. So they're still going to be national champs.
Right.
They're so entertaining. Like they are finished. So wrestling can be ridiculously boring to watch if you've got 2 people that they want to do like Brazilian style of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where it's like, I got an advantage, I'm going to sit here for 8 minutes and win on that. Like you'll have people that will have 3-2 matches where once they get their takedown, they'll just actively stall the whole time. It's horrible. Then you'll have the people that are like, I want to put as many points on the board as possible. There was one guy, they said it a couple years ago, I want to say it was 4 years ago, guy from Illinois, is probably the best person who's ever come out of Illinois for wrestling. He's a 4-time national finalist, champion, runner-up. And he put up more points in one match than a guy from Iowa did in 5.
Damn.
He got 14 points in one match, and the guy from Iowa got like 7 or 8 in 5 matches. He was winning all of them like 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, or something like that. So that guy, the Illinois guy, is one of the most entertaining people I've seen ever. Super active. But you should watch them. They're on ESPN every year now. I think they televise every round. You just got to set out a chunk of time or DVR.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went back to watch it.
Watching.
I went back to watching it at my parents' house because they had TiVo. And my dad's like, you said you were coming back to visit us, but I'm not stupid. You're here to watch the wrestling. I was like, but I'm here to watch it with you.
Was your dad a wrestler?
No. But him and my mom followed me across the country to watch. Like they went to Texas with me all 3 times. I went to nationals.
Right.
Nice.
Trying to think. They didn't always come to Iowa. That was because the flights to Iowa are on Allegiant. You have to leave on a specific day. But almost always one or both of them was there. When I was at UNF, they were there every time. They were team photographers, and my mom was a team photographer, and my dad videoed everything, which is great if I want to reminisce. My mom got one of the best pictures there's ever been taken of me, and that was my freak out picture when I pinned the number 1 seed my junior year.
Is that the one where you're...
Yeah. They haven't seen it. It's in my top 2 favorite pictures of me that have ever been taken. Because it was such a raw moment. I had so a little backstory. This guy's name is Josh Woods. He's from UCF. Really good. He had like this, people always assumed that he was like some D-bag asshole because he had a mohawk. He would dye. He's covered in like aggressive looking tattoos. Super nice guy. He like learned my parents' names, always like referred to them by name. Super respectful. I never had a problem with him. I liked him. So when people would like try to trash, they're like, do you even know that guy?
Right.
Chill out. Where would it be? Profile pictures. But we had a rivalry. So my first year at UNF, I crushed him first match, like 13-6. Then our second match, he beat me 3-2. Then our third match, he destroyed me, like 16-4. It was really bad.
Wow.
And then I avoided him my entire junior year because we're in the same conference and we're at the same tournament so many times. And I'd already faced him 3 times, so I didn't want to face him again until I needed to. And there it is.
Oh my gosh.
So we didn't face until the national semifinals.
That's sick.
He was the number 1 seed. I was the number 4 seed.
That's scary.
That's pretty cool.
And
cool. Yeah, I've seen that quite a few times.
And we were 0-0. So that was our plan, was to go 0. Like we wanted to either have him mess up and me score, or just go 0-0. So we went 0-0 into the second period. And he picked Baudin, He went to do what's called a switch. I re-switched, and then we both came to the feet. And I had an underhook all the way across his back and his wrist. And I went to hip toss him, but I didn't get in front of his hips, so I kind of just hit him like a pendulum and knocked him over and jumped on a half Nelson and put him on his back. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening. And I could hear his corner telling him to like do. So there's your half Nelson is you're wrapped around their head this way, or reverse half you're under their head and their arm, you're holding it here. The way to get out of it is to bring your arm around and belly down. I've been seeing people do it all tournament, the entire first and second day. So I can hear his corner go, get your arm through. And I went and stuck my head on the mat. His arm went and kept clicking on my head. I was like, you're not getting up. I'm winning this match. It took like 40 seconds for me to get him flat. And then that picture happened. And I just so happened to be facing my corner, and my parents were right behind it. Yeah. So my dad has it on video, and my mom got that picture of me just screaming at my coach.
You know, one of the moves I adopted from wrestling that I've hit at least 5 times is a spladle. Have you ever spladled anyone?
I've spladled you. No, banana split. No, I have spladled you once, but you kicked out of it. I've tried to banana split you too. You're too flexible. Yeah. His legs are so long. I'll go to banana split him. I'll get him sunk to my elbow, and he'll lock his feet. Like, that shouldn't happen. But no, that's to this day still one of my best memories. Such a good moment. The one my senior year was cool, but not as cool because it was kind of planned. I was number 1 ranked the entire year. It was number 1 seed, and I gave up 2 points so first match of the year I was a heavyweight. Lost that match, and then won 2. Or no, won, lost 1. So 3 matches were at heavyweight, and then the rest were all at my weight class. I did not give up a single point until 4 seconds left of the national finals. That's because I relaxed. But I already won. And then I got up, and I had a planned victory yell for that one. So it's not quite as raw, but it was my final match of my final year, so it was a big deal. Yeah, right. I looked more muscular in that one. It was great. My mom took that one, which happened to be perfect because it got the score behind me.
Now you're pretty lean in that one. What weight was that?
235. Nice. I was about 230 in that picture.
Dang.
And then that was the one that was planned.
Shredded too. Look at that.
Yeah. That was a professional picture. That one wasn't done by my mom.
It looks way high definition.
I sharpened it a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like.
But for a while, the organization actually used that as their profile picture. I'm like, hell yeah, you can use it. You guys took it. Nice.
There you go.
That was a good memory, too. That was the one I was telling you guys about when I went home after that tournament. I cried myself to sleep.
Yeah. It's a hard story.
Jumped right back into jiu-jitsu full time. Hit like 4 tournaments back-to-back months after that. Wow. I also did that with almost a broken finger. So, like, you see that gap right there? That I did with fighting Brian. When I went to clock chug him or something, my finger got twisted in there. I was like, that kind of hurts. And then we did our no-gi match, and I went to shake my hand at the end. I almost like yanked my hand back. It goes, and then it turned purple. I splinted it with a spoon. Nice. And then I had to wrestle with it 2 weeks later, and I couldn't, it sucked because I'm a lefty lead, right. Even though I'm right-handed. Everyone I was facing was a lefty lead, which has never happened before. And I have one shot I do off a righty lead, but I couldn't do it. So 2 of my matches that were the 2 close ones, 3-2 and 3-1, should have been way more open because they were both heavy left leads, and I just couldn't attack with that hand. Every time someone was like, hey, good luck in the final, like, thanks. Right. And anytime someone tried to hand fight to peel my hands off, as soon as they grabbed it, my hand was out, and they would get out. So, fought through it.
There you go.
And then this pinky got messed up, so it's just these fingers. I'm waiting for the rest to catch up.
Right. You got 8 more to break.
Yeah. This one was in New York in April. I hit probably one of the nicest throws I've ever hit in jiu-jitsu. My pinky hit the mat first. And then the next day, it was purple all the way to here, even though it was just this finger. And it was also discolored on the inside of my hand. Yeah.
I broke this one sideways. It went, and I had
broke or dislocated?
No, broke. Well, the socket split all the way down. So I was rolling Jason. I got caught in his shorts. He jumped sideways, and my finger just went right?
Like this
And
recent?
you heard it. This is like
Jason Backlund.
no,
Jason Pierce.
Yeah.
Pierce. It was in the last year, and I went to the ER and they X-rayed it, and they're like, yeah, you split your knuckle. My knuckle just split down to allow room for the finger to snap sideways, right?
That's gross.
So then I just taped my fingers together for 6 months, and because it just weirds you out. The thought of these coming apart, it's just like you got to tape it up. Even after it healed, it was just like so weirded out by that, right? When it snaps sideways. You ever seen Helsing Gracie though? His finger goes off like that.
Have you seen Luiz's fingers? His knuckles are like bolts.
I know. I tease him about it from time to time because he's got like he's been working with a gi for like 40 years because
He's got ugly hands.
Yeah, he's got them. He's got
Jiu-Jitsu
the
hands.
master hands.
Yeah, he's got the master hands for sure.
I mean, he just had carpal tunnel surgery because of jiu-jitsu.
But I never know. One of my favorite actors is Denzel Washington. You don't know it, but one of his fingers goes off to the side as well. It like goes straight down. His pinky's just like Helsing. Like if you ever see Helsing do a shaka, it's not like that. It's like this.
Mine goes really far out. But
Yeah,
I have that little flat part between those instead of like these. So when I have a really wide spread between my pinky and my thumb.
His is clearly broken sideways, right?
His is like a 180 degree.
Yeah, it is. It is. And Denzel's the same way. Like what's funny is you watch all these movies with Denzel Washington and you never notice it. And then someone points it out and they show pictures of it. It's not correctable. I mean, it's
the same thing with Megan Fox and her toe thumbs.
They hide it. Yeah, she's seriously got some toe thumbs there.
Ew.
She's seriously
Look up
got
Megan Fox's thumbs.
Their toes.
They look like
it
big
looks like
toes.
someone like
Let me see this.
They
cut
do.
off
Yeah.
and stitched on
It's some
toes. She
kind of-
has toe thumbs.
Yeah, toe thumbs.
She'd have to
Megan-
wear gloves. I couldn't be
Megan
with her.
Fox's thumbs.
One of my coaches,
I'd get over it.
Iowa, he had his fingers
Just
not
wear
broken
gloves,
there,
baby.
but the tendons right here, the ligaments,
Ew!
were broken. So his pinky stuck out like that. And so whenever we're on bottom, like point your pinkies out, I was like, you don't even have to put your arms in the right place. Your pinkies are out already.
I don't think I've
You're
ever
like
seen thumbs
here,
like that.
your
I know.
elbows in.
Ew.
We know what they look like.
I wonder if they charge her for a pedicure when she goes in for a manicure.
Ew.
Right?
That's cold.
Yeah.
She probably
That's
pays
so
some
nasty.
modified rate. Like, look, we gotta charge you a little more. You got more real estate than we normally deal with.
It's okay. I still
She's
like
trying to
it.
look cute with her.
Maybe-
I can't. No. Look
No,
at that.
It's.
So
She's trying to look
horrible.
cute. No.
It's so
I just have them
horrible.
cut off.
Dude.
I just like.
Plus, Bobby doesn't like
Look.
weird feet, so if
Yeah.
you have a weird foot on your hand.
I know. That's like, yeah, I couldn't deal with it. I'd be like, look, you got to wear gloves if we're gonna be together.
Who was it that put in one of our group pages the goblin on the airplane? Or you
Oh,
said, oh,
the
you put that
foot?
picture?
Yeah.
The foot coming out the side.
Nasty.
Dude, you would have
Oh.
found
Yes.
a pen or something like.
It was nasty.
Dirty
Like,
foot.
why would you have your feet up there?
I don't know,
Why would they even be dirty
why
like
would you
that?
recline on someone who's 6'2"? Because that happened to me on my last flight. I wanted to punch her. This one was like 5'4" and reclining. I was like, first of all, you're reclining 4 inches. What does that really do? Except kill my leg room, which was already minimal.
I'm 6'4".
I know.
And people do it to me all the time. Like I've had people. I've been sitting there like kind of half asleep, and some dude will just like drop back, and the aluminum,
Bar
go
hits it.
right into my knees. I'm just like, man, it sucks being
Jeez.
6'4". There's nothing glorious about it. I'll tell you.
Sometimes I'll lean forward to like rest my head on it, and I'll feel them start to lean back, and I'll just keep it
Push
up, and
against it.
then they assume that it broke. I'm like, victory.
Ah!
The
That was
worst
smart.
flight
There
I've
you
ever
go.
been on was Spirit Airlines. It's
Spirit and Frontier. are the two worst.
horrific.
Yeah.
Their normal seats, my knees were tucked.
They don't
my
move.
feet were off the ground. That's how small these rows were. And this was to go to nationals. This is a 3-hour flight to Texas, so to Dallas from Jacksonville. So I hear this woman, this flight attendant. She's like, "Sir, would you like to move to the emergency exit?" And I was like, "Say what?" And she's getting close. She goes, "Sir, would you like to move to the emergency exit?" "Sir, would you?" "Hell yeah!" Later.
Yeah, and there's more leg room.
And even then, it was like normal legroom on another flight. The best part of that flight was that happening, and the announcer for the flight was hysterical. He was incredibly gay, but very funny. He was like doing like the whole spiel at the beginning, like follow the rules, like no smoking in the bathrooms. You can be charged up to $5,000. Let's be honest, if you had $5,000 to lose, you wouldn't be flying on Spirit. Or he said, no, you would be flying on Delta. And then at the end, he goes, sit back, relax, and pretend you're flying on a different airline. I was like, dude, you're gonna get fired. I wish I'd recorded it. It was so good. Best flight attendant I've had.
Dang.
Yeah, in the Philippines,
never
they only hire
flown.
hot flight attendants. If you ever go to the Philippines, they will only hire you if you're hot. If you're not
Yeah,
hot,
but they might end up
hire you.
being a boy.
True.
Does Thailand have their own airline?
Probably the same.
It's probably the same.
I've never been on a plane.
What?
Say what?
Seriously?
I've
You need to come do
never been on a
IBJJF
plane.
New York.
There are no planes. It's just a conspiracy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess not.
that's fine.
Yeah, I've
It's just
never.
something
Well,
we made
because I've
up.
never been out of the country.
If you're indoctrinated and you're part
I've
of the
never been out of
Illuminati,
the
we
country.
talk
I've
about
only
planes.
the only
plane
places I've
stories.
ever traveled to is like North Carolina, Virginia, Louisiana. You know, because that's places where family is. I've never been outside of the U.S.
Speaking of
So
Illuminati,
sheltered.
right? I learned this was the
Well, I'm only
Illuminati
18,
thing,
so.
and this symbol. You said white power. Did I say this before? It's 666.
Well, it means both, right? Some
Right.
people
It doesn't. It was a
mean-
hoax started on 4chan.
Some people say it means white power, like some people. but
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
I'd
people
agree with-
that are blind media and 4chan
Yeah.
users
What the
who
heck?
started that.
This.
This means okay.
well, when you're diving.
And this is the circle game. Yeah, when
And that's
you're
the circle
diving,
game.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Not this, because that means you want to go up.
And that's
Yep,
the
this is
that's
up,
the
this is
irony,
down.
right?
I'm just entertaining it.
I don't entertain like conspiracies about that because, you know, this is cool, you know. And some people are like, yeah, what? Like when we were kids, we did
Rock
that,
on.
right? Like I had people tell me like,
Yeah.
see, they're part of the Illuminati. I'm like, no, I did that, and I wasn't. Like I'm sure, you know, I was just like rock and roll, you know. So
Yeah.
People want to just.
People
Make
want to believe
things
it.
up.
They don't believe it.
Shaka, hang loose, brother.
I've had people ask me like, "Why do you do that in your pictures?" And I was like, "It's part of the jiu-jitsu culture." And like, I thought it was part of surf culture. I was like, "Yeah, the Gracies all surfed in Brazil, and then they brought it in, and now it's part of both."
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
we merged
Right.
the cultures.
There you go.
You got to get out of the southeast.
You gotta
I don't have money to just go fly though. Like,
Do you have a job?
I'm trying to get one.
Do you have you ever been out?
You know, I've actually applied to like several places, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, you're not really equipped for this kind of job because you know I'm only 18." They don't want someone who's
Go to Publix.
you know. Yeah, my sister works there, and let me tell you, I've already tried to apply it there, and then we had some complications, and then I'm like, you know, I don't want to work at Publix.
What were your complications? You need to work customer service or retail at one point in your life.
Yeah,
It makes you appreciate the people you actually like.
frozen yogurt. I know a person.
I'm not trying to work in food though, because I know I'm gonna eat the frozen yogurt. I don't want to get fat.
Get a service job. You need
I'm
something
trying to-
something in customer service or retail to appreciate
Yeah.
people that aren't ridiculously retarded.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Top golf.
trying. I'm working.
Top golf
I'm
might
working
be the
on
place.
it.
There you go. Top golf.
Ooh, they've got that new.
Mahjong.
Oh,
There's a
you're
place
gonna
coming.
take advantage of that and be like, oh, so
Go-
Nikki
go
works
No, right,
here.
they're
Go work at
building-
an expensive restaurant. That way your tips will be bigger.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose if you don't have a job. You need to get a job first. Then you can look
Yeah,
for a better
I'm
job while you
trying.
have that job.
Yeah.
Go work at McDonald's or something.
Or Taco Lou. Boom.
Yeah,
Great
we'll see
tacos.
if you know. I'm not the
tacos.
only one that makes the decisions with that though. My dad's like, "Oh, I don't want you driving there. Or I don't want you driving here." And I'm
Hookups.
like, "All right, Dad." But I respect his decisions. So, yeah, I'm trying. I
Gotta
applied for
respect
like
the pappy.
3 different
Is there another
jobs
chocolate
yesterday.
frosting down in there?
So if you're watching and you
Yeah.
got a recommendation for a job for Nikki, hit us up.
Preferably with animals, but you know,
Hit us up.
anything will work.
There's
You heard her
that
request,
Let me
preferably
know.
with animals.
Yeah.
Caddyshack. Have you looked at the Caddyshack?
No, I mean I applied to PetSmart, Petco, Petland. I was gonna apply to this ranch with the horses because you know
Kinda
I love
pigeonholing
horses,
yourself.
but my dad was like no because you have to go on the highway and stuff. And I'm like, all right. He said once you've been driving more, you can do it. I'm like,
How long have you been driving?
a few
Few
months
months.
now.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. But I'm a good driver. Like y'all haven't been in the car with me, but I'm a really good.
My
driver.
daughter has.
See, I'm a good driver. She says I'm slow, but I'm careful. I'm safe when I
Yeah.
drive. I
That's
don't
good,
care
and you
if people
should be.
call me grandma. I don't care. I'm not getting into a wreck. So,
We'll get there when we get there.
yeah. I mean, I go the speed limit. You know,
It's good.
Or a little bit above, but I don't go like super slow or anything. I just take my time. I don't rush it. You know, some people just speed barreling down these roads. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, so I take my time. I'm safe.
Enjoy driving, because
Yeah.
pretty soon we're not going to be driving anymore. The cars will be driving ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Like her kids, or probably her kids' kids, probably will never get behind the wheel and drive a car.
My kids are gonna be animals. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
But
okay, well,
your daughter's kids.
my
kids.
grandchildren or
Your
grandchildren
grandchildren.
will never drive a car. It's just not because humans are too stupid, right?
Yeah, well, in Back to the
Somebody
Future, they
Wall-E.
had like skateboards that were like hoverboard things, you know.
Yeah.
So and
Which-
we
that
still don't even
technology
have
will
that,
not
you
exist.
know.
I hate that they call hoverboards right now hoverboards. They don't hover. They have wheels.
They don't. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just
Like,
like,
who decided to call them that?
I mean, they don't touch the board itself. Doesn't touch the ground, but the wheels.
Neither
do,
does a
so,
skateboard's board
Yeah,
And they're still skateboards.
true.
or a scooter. I want to have a hover scooter.
I've never tried to ride one.
The
I don't
hoverboard.
know.
I haven't tried to
I
ride.
saw
one.
Mike
Actually,
Tyson
no.
on one
Don't
and
do
he
it in
busted his
flip-flops.
I
ass.
really tried to ride one, but I was only on it for like 5 seconds. I'm like, no, I don't want to.
You know,
But I've seen like a
open.
2-year-old totally just master.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like,
you know, it was
no.
pre-hoverboard Heelys.
Oh my gosh,
They're
right?
They're still out.
They are.
Do they make them in size 13 for adults? Because I want a pair.
I
My
would
parents.
I can see you
Totally.
chasing someone down on them.
When I was little, though,
Yeah,
They're the
I
best
Hell.
for the mall. Like if the mall is tiled or Publix.
yeah.
Hell yeah, Publix and Winn-Dixie. Zoom. I made the mistake of you have to line your feet up. So if you let them go side to side, your foot will catch up and you bust ass.
I've never
I
tried.
did that once. It was awful.
You know,
Straight
I
doing
never.
parking lots that are level.
Yeah, I never had my own pair, but I always wanted them. My dad's like, no, you need regular shoes. You're not gonna be doing all that in school. I'm like, all right.
No Heelys
That's
for
okay.
you.
You
No, I
remember
never had Heelys, but
They
I always
also had the
I
skate
tried
shoes
on
where the
friends.
wheels were like this big that would
Yeah.
pop out of the bottom. Those were horrible. Heelys were way better.
Mm.
So the wheels were so small and so crappy they would get stuck on anything. Heelys were big wheels. They were easy to pop out, and you could replace them.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna start doing
Them
some
good old
Googling.
days. Maybe you should just start your own adult brand of Heelys. You
They
could.
probably got them.
Heelys
I mean-
for men.
Heelys for men.
I always wanted like an adult-sized big wheel. You remember, when I was a kid, I had the big wheel. You know, like the big front tire.
Oh my
now
gosh.
they're making them now for adults, but they're motorized, right?
I saw that. And people they put drift tires on the
Yeah.
Right, and they're
They-
like, you know, like taking.
We
yeah.
need to do that. We need to line that up. If I'm rich, I'm going to buy 10 of them when the crypto hits people.
The
hits.
crypto.
You're still on that,
Bitcoin.
even after they crashed.
It's funny that you say that because it's crashed every year, and every year it's made someone a millionaire. Like every year has a crash, and every year it goes up an insane amount. You know, it's like, how are you going to tell the guy that bought in at 2009 at like a penny, and now it's at $6,500? You're going to go, crashed, right? He's like, crashed? What are you talking about? I made like 10 million%. I'm like, $100, I've got like 5 mega yachts. It's like, it's all relevant. Like if you're talking 2018 and you bought in at the highest time of 2000, then it's arguably a crash, but I guarantee it.
I bought it at 16,000.
This time next year,
Dang.
tell me it crashed. And it probably will again. But
like, okay, I will.
but what's going to happen is you're going to see a $20,000 or $40,000 Bitcoin, and you're gonna be joking on people because it will have hit 80,000, right? And you're going to be like, it crashed, right? It's like, yeah, it crashed. If you bought in at 80,000, it crashed. You know, every year it's gone up. Every year it's gone up. It's made multimillionaires year after year after year. And I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's going to keep going until fiat currency's gone, right? Because that's the argument, is that it doesn't have to beat fiat currency. Fiat currency is just going to go away, right? Look at Greece. If you had money, fiat currency in Greece, they just took your money. They just reached in the bank and took it. You had $250,000 in the bank, not anymore. They just took it. The government just took your money.
Well, that's why
And-
Greece is bankrupt.
Well, and then let's look at Venezuela. And then Venezuela, you had $1 million. You're a millionaire. Now you got like 10 cents. It's the point of it is that
So, yeah.
no one can take your crypto. No one.
So you have mattress banks.
But it would have been worthless. You'd had a whole mattress full of Venezuelan dollars or Greek currency, and you'd have nothing. But every year after year, crypto's performed, And I think people are going to see. It's going to be. I'm telling you.
I bought
This is to all of you.
I don't understand the whole mining aspect of it. Maybe one of these days we'll have a conversation. You could.
Should have
It's
put
easier
stock
to
in
explain it in a
Tesla when the
second.
Tesla stock crashed recently.
Yeah.
Oh no, Elon Musk took a hit of a
sued,
blunt.
Oh
he's
my
getting sued
gosh.
by the SEC right now. It's going to crash again. It's
He's getting sued.
Why?
For
He's stepping
talking
down.
about taking it private at $420 a share.
420,
420.
and he didn't.
420.
Yeah.
I love the picture of him after he hits it. This isn't bad.
There's a T-shirt like 2 or 3 days after that. There was some company making T-shirts about it, and it was awesome. I should have bought one. Can't remember
There's
what
all
they
kinds
said.
of memes about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't care, dude.
That's what I do
Smoke up.
late at night. Is I just try to find memes on other people's pages. Luckily, I have a Facebook friend who pops up in my newsfeed regularly, who's constantly just putting memes.
I enjoy those people
Found a
that
great-
post all those memes.
I
and
found a
I'm
great
just
wristlock one. It's like 2, I guess, infantrymen. One guy's way off in the distance, and it says white belt, and then it says me, a giant missile, wristlocks.
Pretty accurate.
Dang.
Pretty accurate.
Wow.
That got a lot of angry face reactions. Haters gonna hate.
Yep.
Join the church. Stop hating.
Join the church.
I started doing it to all the officers and the sergeants of the police academy when I started training with them. And then I got my friend Gabe to start doing it, and they're like, fucking mini Stuart. It's like, first of all, we're the same size. Second
Yeah,
of all,
I'm-
get with the program.
You can't call Gabe mini anything.
Gabe is 6'3", 230,
Whew.
Big.
Yeah.
and one of my favorite people. He's hilarious.
He's a very nice guy.
He helps me
He
out
was
of
my
stuff.
training partner at the Hickson Gracie seminar.
Huh?
Yep. Were you there? Did you
Mm-mm.
train? You didn't train with
No.
Hickson?
I don't remember
Yeah.
where I was that weekend. I think I might have been competing somewhere. It was a while ago. I think that was like right after I met him. I hated him when I first met him. Or just because of one sentence. He just came across like really mean, and then I actually talked to him literally like 3 hours later, and I was like, never mind, this guy's really cool. I like him.
There you
He apparently he already knew who I was because of Luiz. So he called me by name. He's like, I've heard a lot of good things about you from Luiz. And I was like, Luiz Palhares? He goes, yeah. And I told Luiz then, I was like, yeah, I met Gabe Rose today. He said you had a lot of nice things to say about me. He goes, different Luiz. I was like, I thought so. Luiz loves to give me shit. I think more than anyone else.
That's cool.
All right, we laid down 3.5 hours. I think everyone's ready. Let's anyone who stuck through the whole 3.5 hours.
You're invited to my party Friday night. Well, it's
Yeah.
not
Oh
really
my
a party.
God.
We're just having a cookout.
Thank you.
Cookouts are parties.
Thanks to Stuart again. Thanks for coming out.
You're welcome.
Nikki Savage, glad to have you, Brenden.
I'll be teaching on the
Secor.
19th at Checkmate. Something, I don't know what yet. Some kind of
He's gonna
takedown.
make
and-
something up.
Yeah.
Get something.
Be here.
I'll have a vague plan, and it'll
There
be
you
cool.
go.
Yeah, sometime we got to go over your signing off, guys. Thanks, everybody. Let's all wave. Brady Bunch. See ya.